It's the first team to be back into the Grey Cup. We await the winner of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers taking on the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the Western Final. We'll get to that in just a moment. But just this game, my goodness, it's like we had to take a breath. Matt, you just said, too, I can't believe we have another one. I mean, there was just so much emotion to this one. And look, it starts, Ryan Dinwiddie just spoke about it. The injury to Chad Kelly was just gruesome in the third quarter. Nick Arbuckle comes in. And look, he was efficient enough. He was 5 of 8. He had 73 yards. And Milt, that was enough to get the job done. Cody had that opportunity on the 2-point convert. He couldn't convert, and all of a sudden, Toronto was off to the 111th Grey Cup. Yeah, and it was impressive. But like you said, first of all, prayers up for Chad Kelly. Hopefully he gets well soon. But Nick Arbuckle, he did just enough. He didn't try to go out there and make too many plays. He just did enough to make sure he puts his team in a position to be in the Grey Cup, and that's exactly what happened. That was very impressive. I don't know how many people thought that these Alouettes weren't going to win the game when Chad Kelly went down. But this team, they believed in themselves. They believed in Nick Arbuckle, and they got it done, and now they're in the Grey Cup. You can talk about all the things that Montreal did wrong, turnovers, whatever it may be, all that, it doesn't matter. There are no excuses. Toronto won this game. They deserve to be in the Grey Cup, and that's where they're going to be next weekend.
Yeah, Milt, I was impressed with the way that Ryan Dinwiddie didn't get off his game plan. And obviously, they were 1st and 10 run, didn't have success there, put a lot of 2nd and longs. I think 3 of them that counted for Nick Arbuckle and the offense, and he was good on 3 of them. And then the 4th one, he drew a pass interference by Brissett. Here's take a look at it. His 2nd and 7. You got to have this because there's plenty. This is earlier in the ball game, first one in, and then Coach, he just makes one of the best in the league. Eastern Defensive nominee for Defensive Player of the Year miss, and now they're in good field position. This is huge because they're only up 5 at this point. They get a field goal, and he throws another dive there on 2nd and 10. This is what Ryan Dinwiddie talked about. We trusted him, and that's why they have him in the lineup. That's why he took Cam Duke's job in that situation, and they trusted a veteran. That was good enough to bounce around this league, and a lot of people looking at him to be a number 1. He was a number 1 today, and when called upon, he stepped up and made it happen for his teammates in a very difficult football game. The way it started out, it looks like Montreal was going to run away with it. Then things just kind of turned. Defense took over. They got a special teams touchdown, defensive touchdown, and Lirim Hajrullahu continues to be hot.
Yeah, I'm certain that Toronto's offense isn't going to be pleased with how they played today, but that is a classic team win because you know the 2 big plays from Coxie at the end of the first half that got them going a little bit, but really it was their defense. It says here Wynton McManus had 4 tackles. I think he had about 14, so 40 I'm going to double check the stats there, but he was all over the field. That's a gutsy effort from this Argo team, not playing their best football, but find a way to get it done.
Do you think they have enough? I mean, we watched the beginning of that game, and you're right, the offense didn't get going to the very end of the first half there, but overall, special teams and defense moving forward into this Grey Cup with Nick Arbuckle. Yes, he was very good in the 4th, but I mean, now you're going to go against the Riders or the Bombers. Do they have enough, Chezzy?
Yeah, these do more than they did today, that's for sure. I mean, even if it was their starting quarterback in their first team we saw in the first half, that's not enough to get it done, I don't think. I mean, they would say that they need to play better offensively, and they have a real challenge playing with their backup quarterback in the Grey Cup.
People always talk about playing clean football in the playoffs. It's not clean football today. Yeah. And it was a slugfest. It was ugly, but I can tell you this: when Nick Arbuckle came in the game, one of the first plays they tried to execute was a little crosser by Kadeem Carey, and Nick Arbuckle put it right on the money and put the ball on the ground. You can't afford to do that next week. Those things will multiply, and they'll cost you the Grey Cup.
And before we get to next week, guess what? We have one more football game, the Western Final. For the first time since 2021, the Roughriders are in the Western Final. On the other side, nothing new for the Blue Bombers, making their 6th straight appearance in this game. Zach Collaros has been unbelievable at Princess Auto Stadium. He is a perfect 3-0 on that field in the Western Final. And you don't get much better than the Riders and the Bombers because we know how great this rivalry has been. They've been a couple of great games this year, but we can't look at those because we know that this one is for all the marbles, as we now are joined by our Claire Hanna. And Claire, I know we've been talking for hours ahead of this game, but now seeing these fans filter in, we're going to see over 32,000 in attendance, the 5th straight sellout. It's been incredible. What's the atmosphere there right now?
Kate, it's amazing. Enoch and I, we actually went to go to the tailgate party just to check things out, and some of the Bombers fans were telling us how much it would mean for this team to get back to the Grey Cup, but they said it would mean even more because they'd be beating the Riders. We know how big this rivalry is. We know how bad Trevor Harris wants to get back to his first Grey Cup since 2018. Farhan, What are you sensing from the quarterback for the Riders ahead of this game?
Well, first of all, he's really confident. You know that this means a lot to Trevor Harris, but more than anything else for me, I'm interested to see what happens with the offensive line in front of him. You know that Trevor Reed's not going to play in this game, and I'm told that if they get to the Grey Cup and by Saskatchewan winning this game, that he's also not going to be available for that game. So it's going to cause 3 different moves along that offensive line, including at both tackle spots. But another piece of news I'm hearing is that if the Riders do advance, they might get Jamarcus Hardrick back in the lineup. He's been moving around. He's been feeling pretty good after that early season calf injury and surgery. So if they get to that point, I mean, it's still a long shot, but it is a possibility that he might be available to play in the Grey Cup. And as for Harris himself, he's 38 years old, and he's found the fountain of youth this season. And I asked him, how much longer for you? And he said, look, it'll be less than 10 years, I promise. But surely he said, he goes, physically, I feel like I can continue to play, and from that perspective, I want to play. But I promised my wife I'm not going to make any early decisions, regardless of how good I feel right now. I'm going to take 2 weeks for the season to decompress. Then I'll make that decision. He's got 4 kids, including one that's 22 weeks old. So the wife's got to be involved in this decision. It could take some time.
Wind picking up a little bit at the stadium. The weather has been beautiful. It's about 11 degrees. Things are obviously about to heat up now. Enoch Mwamba, our MOP of the Grey Cup in 2022. We saw you crying a little earlier on the show when you held that trophy up. But walk us through the Bombers' defense and what they're going to do to make the Riders' offense have a hard time.
Well, Claire, the whole time that I've been talking to the guys pregame here, on both sides, they're talking about the importance of the running game. We've talked at length about how Brady Oliveira is going to be important for this team. But that defense on the other side, they are talking about how important it is going to be for them to hold off Brady Oliveira. The defensive coaches over there are talking about how they'll need to neutralize their offense. And so that is going to be the big challenge. When you talk about the running game for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, well, this is the challenge that the defense in Blue Bombers are going to have. They have 2 running backs. We know about Olet. We know about the kind of running back he is. He's a bruiser. He's physical. Well, they also have Raquel Armstead, who has been a late addition to this team, and he's going to pose a unique problem to this defense as well in Winnipeg, and it's going to be challenging for them to adjust to the both styles of running.
Yeah, Armstead came in with a splash for the Riders' offense, and it's so loud here already. I cannot imagine what it's going to be like at kickoff. The Riders recognizing they are coming into hostile territory, and we are in for a treat tonight.
And Claire, let's stick with that running game for just a moment, because all eyes on Brady Oliveira in his home province of Manitoba. And look, we know how good he's been. He was a West nominee for MOP this season. He led the league in rushing. But when it comes to the Riders' run defense, he has struggled this season. Under 50 yards in all those games, 0 TDs. But as I mentioned off the top, that's the regular season. This is now the playoffs, and we could see a different Brady.
Yeah, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are hoping that's the case. They know they're going against the best run defense in the CFL and the Roughriders, but how do you not get your MOP and possibly the MOP of the league involved? And you have to get him involved early. And they were able to do that in 2 of the 3 games. Of course, yes, he didn't have many rushing yards, as you mentioned, Kate, under 50 in all 3 games. But he had 2 games where he had one game where he had 80 yards receiving, 60 yards receiving. So there's ways to get him involved, because there's no way you don't want Brady Oliveira involved in the game. Because if he's not involved, you're not winning this game. Yes, you might be able to get the rushing yards, but you have to have him involved if you want to have an opportunity to win this game.
Yeah, Milt, I just take a step back and I look at the entirety of the football season, how it began with Brady Oliveira, right? It's like he wasn't even in training camp. He wasn't even playing at the beginning of the year. And now he became the focal point for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and their success rate in the West Final. And talk about success rate. This guy, he only gets better during the playoffs. He's lethal. He's one of the most electrifying quarterbacks, accurate passers that'll just slice and dice you, along with this guy who's incredible at home. Look, we got a heck of a contest in front of us, you know. It's not where you start, it's where you finish, and these guys are getting close to the end, and they want to finish strong. Brady Oliveira is a big part of that. You talk about the running game, smashing it. Florian Lauschi talked about it. The line changes up front for the Saskatchewan Roughriders didn't affect them last week. It was a beautiful job by the big boys up front to pave the way for A.J. Olet and certainly Armstead. To me, that's one of those things to look at, is dominant physical football game, as Jim Barker would like to say, a little smash-mouth football.
Yeah, I don't want to overstate it. These Bombers are in the moment right now, but the reality is the potential dynasty of this Winnipeg Blue Bombers football team, it hangs on the balance of them winning a Grey Cup this year. They've done great things over the last 5 years. If they want to be a dynasty, we look back 20, 30, 10 years from now, and this last 5 years of this team, they need to get to this Grey Cup this year and win this game. And the comment Brady Oliveira was talking about them being on top, and people trying to knock them off. And Zach jumped in and said, we're not on top of anything because we haven't been able to get it done in the big game. And here they go, the big game about to kick off.
Well, that's the thing. We'll remember the 3 straight losses in the Grey Cup, too. And, yeah, it's amazing what they've done in the Western Final. It's amazing getting to the Grey Cup, but it seems like this might be the point in time for the Bombers. Winnipeg has won the last 8 home games against the Roughriders at home, including the 2021 Western Final. Can they make it 9, or will Saskatchewan finally break the trend?
Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Morales looks down the seam. Dembski catches it on the run inside the 25-yard line. Morales looks over the middle. Dembski settles in right next to the uprights. Touchdown Bombers. Waller after the big explosive to Dembski on the last drive, and all of a sudden Winnipeg is flying through the air. Morales tons of time in the pocket against a 3-man rush. Another underneath throw to Ontario Wilson. Steps into another one to Ontario Wilson as Burns right there to make the play. And out comes Sergio Castillo. And now it's starting to rain as well. Low snap. Castillo steps into it. It's got the leg. It's good. The Bombers walk it off to win the West.
This was unreal.
The football gods just smiled on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Under the leadership of head coach Mike O'Shea, please welcome your Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The starting defense, brought to you by 4 Point Sheridan, Winnipeg South. At corner, number 24, Terrell Bonds. Halfback, number 31, Evan Holmes. Corner, number 30, Tyrell Ford. Safety number 37, Brandon Alexander. Defensive back number 6, Retta Cramney. Halfback number 1, Dietrich Nichols. Linebacker number 19, Kyrie Wilson. Defensive tackle number 90, Miles Fox. Linebacker number 33, Tony Jones. Defensive end number 9, Taiwan Garbage.
Winnipeg Football Club recognizes that Princess Auto Stadium is located on Treaty 1 land, traditional territories of the Anishinaabe and Chinanu, Cree, Dakota, and Lakota, and resides in the homeland of the Red River Métis. We also recognize our community's relationship with Dene and Inuit peoples, and that our city's water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation. In this spirit, we commit to a path of reconciliation and moving forward in partnership with one another in all we do.
Fans, we ask you to please rise, remove your hats, and join the Winnipeg Football Club for a moment of silence. Earlier this week, our province and country lost the Honorable Murray Sinclair, who was a tireless defender of people's rights and dignity. His compassionate guidance and leadership has steered our country towards a better future. A public national commemorative ceremony for Justice Murray Sinclair will take place tomorrow, November 10th at 1 p.m. at Canada Life Centre to honor him and his legacy. This morning, we also said goodbye to longtime Winnipeg Sun sports editor Ted Wyman, who was battling cancer. Ted was a fixture at the stadium on game days and at practices, and will be missed by staff, fans, and players alike. We also remember the veterans who bravely gave their lives to serve our country as we look ahead to Remembrance Day. Please join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. Please remain standing for the singing of the national anthem, performed tonight by Warrant Officer David Grennan, accompanied by Flag Party of 17 Wing Winnipeg.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command, car ton bras sait porter l'épée, il sait porter la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Another chapter between the Riders and the Bombers about to be written. Kickoff from Princess Auto Stadium is next.
Well, the stage for the West Final is set, and it's hard to believe it can get any better than this. CFL's best rivalry with a spot in its biggest game on the line as Toronto awaits the winner. The Riders looking to find a path back to the Grey Cup for the first time in more than a decade. Winnipeg, on the other hand, have the same core back here leading the way again.
If the most important stat for a quarterback is wins, then Zach Collaros has been the best quarterback in the league since joining the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Collaros has a winning record versus the Riders, a winning record here at home at 32-5, and has not lost the division final. Trevor Harris also plenty of playoff experience. He is the hottest quarterback in the league over the final month and a half, 5-0 in his last 5 starts, including the Western semifinal last week.
Well, I think they already love this guy in Regina, but in your first year to take this team to the Grey Cup would be quite the scene. Picked up his first playoff win last week at home against the BC Lions, and Mike O'Shea 6-3 in the playoffs, and of course has been for the last 4 Grey Cups. Bombers will get the ball to get us started. 11 degrees in November in Winnipeg. Quite the nights as we get underway.
Return taken at the 30. Whitehead pushes his forward progress just shy of the 40, and we get our first look at Zach Collaros.
Mentioned his winning record, 32-5 here at Princess Auto Stadium. Just incredible. 13-5 career against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and has put up some real good numbers against them.
One play at a time. Y to weak left exit. 0 Sam. Frost. Y freezer secret. On one. Ready.
Little reminder to the offense. One play at a time.
Drive will start on their own 38.
Go.
Dembski in the slot. Now comes back in, flares out to the left, and they give it to him. Dembski had to go up to get it, got turned around, and Roland Milligan is there.
Well, it's the #1 running back in the league with the #1 defensive tackle and arguably the league's history blocking for him up front. It's Stanley Bryant with 8 All-Canadian honors in his entire career. Unheard of, and Brady Oliveira, the leading running back in the Canadian Football League, will run right in behind Stanley Bryant and that Bomber offensive line.
Go!
3 options out to the left, and a passing situation here for Collaros. Gets it away. They've got a first down in the first catch of the day for Clercius.
Coming out slinging it, you know, all the talk all week coming into the West Final has been the #1 run defense for the Saskatchewan Roughriders versus Brady Oliveira. And what is Buck Pierce, the offensive coordinator, Zach Collaros, they come out slinging it.
6 offensive linemen here for Pierce.
What is it?
Collaros looking to pass again. Has time over the middle, bobbled and falls incomplete. In and out of the hands of Pokey Wilson.
Great rookie year. Both these offenses in this game tonight have sort of a mix in their receiving core. A couple of veterans in the core, as well as a couple of young guys that have really emerged in a big way, and Wilson is one of them. Great regular season. Allen just tipped up, very lucky it didn't get intercepted.
3 touchdowns, 1,026 yards, had a 13-catch game this year, did Wilson in his rookie campaign. 2nd and 10 for Collaros. Gets it away, back to Wilson, tackled at the 50. Give him 8 yards, but it's going to be 2 yards shy of what they needed. And Jamison Sheen will come out to kick it away.
No hesitation from Coach O'Shea there. Even though it would be tempting when you're on the opposition side of the center stripe or the 55-yard line, but it's a long 2, and Coach O'Shea is going to punch it away.
Mario Alford waits back. Bombers lead the league, allowing less than 10 yards per punt return on average this season. We'll see if they can keep Super Mario contained tonight. This one grabbed and taken immediately out of bounds. A 35-yard kick. Riders have made their way to Princess Auto Stadium here in Winnipeg, and here's a look at how they did it, Suits.
Yeah, well, Coach Mace went into his job interview talking about wanting to be a team that controls the giveaway, takeaway category. Both not giving it away offensively and protecting the football, but creating turnovers. And man, did this team do that. And they did it again in the West semifinal against the Lions.
3 interceptions of Vernon Adams last week. They'll start it on the ground. A.J. Ouellette pushes it out just beyond the 20.
Mentioned Trevor Harris, one of the hottest quarterbacks, if not the hottest, to finish the regular season. He started 4 straight games, 4 straight wins against Calgary, Ottawa, Edmonton, and BC. And the 5th being that semifinal against the Lions. Did not throw an interception in that game, had a touchdown pass versus BC. Now they have to deal with crowd noise.
I was going to say it's loud in here early in this one. 2nd and 4 for Harris. And he's got a first down. Schaefer Baker just outside the 30 will move the sticks.
His motto all season and the line that they keep talking to each other about in Saskatchewan is do not flinch. It is going to be very difficult for this Rider offense to deal with the crowd noise. Hard to audible at the line of scrimmage. You can see the demeanor of the veteran in Trevor Harris just calming everybody down.
Schaefer Baker, 4 catches for 39 yards last week. Back on the ground for A.J. Ouellette, right up the middle. And he'll be gobbled up here around the 35.
We'll talk about the changes in the offensive line as the game goes on, but a standout star this year has been Logan Ferland. Played junior football in the CJFL with the Regina Thunder and is a finalist for Outstanding Lineman in the Canadian Football League. And A.J. Ouellette, 70 yards rushing in the West semifinal. Mark Mueller had the running game and good balance in the offense against BC.
And we'll see how much they mix in. Rock Armstead, 5 carries last week for 24 yards. Bombers going to bring a little bit of heat. Harris gets it away. Tackle made though. Greta Cranby is there to wrap up A.J. Ouellette, and that'll bring up a 3rd down for the visitors.
Two very similar running backs, 2 very experienced quarterbacks. It is quite the matchup in this Western final. And 2 coaches that really speak the same language to their players.
Korsak sends just outside his 20. Lucky Whitehead waits back inside his 25. 3rd and 6 here early for the Riders. Korsak gets it away and overend. Has the wind at his back here in the first quarter. 46-yard kick. Lucky Whitehead trucked down by Milligan and pushed out of bounds.
Got white lightning running through our veins, and we'll die trying to save our family name. Where the whippoorwills will, the coyotes cry, way back in the holler where the moon shines.
Well, the Bombers back in the West Final, at home again. A little bit of a different path than the last few years. Had a slow start, but in the end, they got the job done.
Yeah, they did. I mean, the slow start was an 0-4 start to the regular season, which was unheard of here in Winnipeg over the last 4 years. Team that has been to the Grey Cup championship game 4 straight years and are looking to get back.
They've absolutely owned the Riders here in Winnipeg, having won 8 in a row. Collaros moves this one quickly. Dembski close to a first down. Looks like he's got it.
Very difficult to defend a play like this when you got Dembski up at the top and he's just going to run that quick curl. I mean, if you're playing off or playing zone, almost impossible to defend. The only way that you can remedy that kind of quick throw out of the play action for Zach Collaros is to play press coverage and get Roland Milligan, the leader in interceptions this year, up and press on Dembski.
Second catch of the game for Dembski. And there's the first touch of the day. On the ground, it's back to Dembski again, and not Brady Oliveira, as you can use Dembski in a bunch of different places against his defense.
A couple of members of the All-CFL team this year. Up front, Micah Johnson, 4 sacks on the season, 27 defensive tackles. He made the All-CFL team. So did C.J. Rivas at linebacker, 89 defensive tackles for Rivas. And then mentioned Roland Milligan, who led the league in interceptions, but Nelson Lacombo at the other end of that coin, first interception in his career against the BC Lions in the West Final, and it was a big, or semifinal, and it was a big one.
8 yards for Dembski and a few more this time for Brady Oliveira. He gets his first touch of the ball game, and it's a first down for Winnipeg.
Yeah, I mentioned the 2 tailbacks in this game. Brady Oliveira, who likes to attack, look for contact.
Hey, wide to trips right, tough. Zoom, 1 lead, Y freezer secret. Oh, one ready.
And led the league in rushing.
1,353 yards on the ground
for Oliveira this season. Collaros fakes it to him this time, gets it back to Dembski, heavily involved so far in this ball game. That time wrapped up and contained by Jameer Thurman, who led the way on the tackle.
Now this Rider defense against Brady Oliveira has done a pretty good job throughout the 3 regular season games. In fact, held him in all 3 of those, rushing the ball to under 50 yards in each one of them. However, Zach Collaros, when that happened, used Brady in the passing game. So we'll see how that evolves as this one goes on, especially on second down.
Go! Wide.
They need 6 yards here. Collaros bouncing around the pocket, escapes out to the left, has room to run, and that's what he does, down inside the 40. First down on the legs of Zach Collaros.
First of all, Stanley Bryant takes his man wide. That was key initially in the pass rush, but Brady Oliveira is not going to run the ball or get out into the route here because he's got to pick up the blitz right in the middle. He doesn't pick up that, and Zach Collaros is sacked. But Stanley Bryant on the edge gets Zach Collaros that space outside, and he gets the first on his own.
Go! Wide. What is it?
The work from the Rider 38. Brady Oliveira down to the 35. And a good second push. And they'll be in second and very manageable on the game's best drive so far.
8 all CFL honors for Stanley Bryant, the left tackle. 3-time Grey Cup champion, once in Calgary, 2 times here in Winnipeg, and a 4-time Offensive Player of the Year. Missed a couple of games this year, but has been the leader in that group. Mike O'Shea said he is a cornerstone when you're building a franchise.
Got to have that guy.
You got to have that guy.
What is that?
2nd and 3. Collaros, see thinking end zone. Down the field, Lawler's got it. Touchdown, Winnipeg! Kenny Lawler strikes first. Bombers go on top of the West Final.
Extra lineman in for protection. Collaros wanted this out of the gate, the deep crossing route, the deep post across the formation from Kenny Lawler. Bring in the extra offensive lineman to help in protection, leave Brady Oliveira in the backfield, so Collaros has got lots of time, and he has time to get Lawler on that deep post all the way across the field.
Sergio Castillo for one more, and that one just sneaks it in. That was close. 7 plays, 75 yards, just over 4 minutes, 31-yard strike to a wide open Kenny Lawler, and the Bombers are on top.
Our colleague in the studio, Matt Dunnigan, said when Kenny Lawler catches a pass, it's like a big fishing net when those big hands get up there. And that's exactly what it looks like on that deep post. And Zach Collaros had the time to throw that crosser post because Stanley Bryant and the guys up front just shut it down. Bryant off the edge on Malik Carney did not let Zach Collaros get hit off that edge. Right up to the left side of his offensive line because he had to step into that side to complete that deep ball.
Collaros has started the game 6 of 7, 67 yards, and a touchdown to Lawler. Mario Alford takes it just inside the 20. Alford tripped up just outside the 40. Time to get a look at Trevor Harris.
Here we go. Here we go. It's going to be YX right, W close. We got 31 Zeus, Spurrier. 1 foot up already.
Beautiful night at Princess Auto Stadium. Another sold-out crowd here. They'll hand it off. A.J. Ouellette pushing ahead. Tony Jones eventually wraps him up. Jones in the middle of his defense.
Well, you know one thing, that Willie Jefferson can just destroy an offensive game plan all by himself if he gets in those passing lanes and gets after Trevor Harris. See what they do to try and block him. Kyrie Wilson was a game-time decision. He will go at linebacker, and all CFL. Tyrell Ford, 7 interceptions on that corner for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this year. Out of Waterloo.
Harris from the pocket down the field. Schaefer Baker. Did he one-hand that? They're going to say incomplete. Baker's saying, I had it. I'll give you another look, though.
He's trying to sell it, but let's take another look. The officials waved it off immediately. No, that bounced. That bounced off the turf.
That'll be 3rd and 5. So Lucky Whitehead trots out here to return this thing. And Winnipeg with the momentum after that touchdown, about to get the ball back. Korshak. He'll let this fly from just outside his own 35, almost blocked, but he got it away. Lucky takes it at the 15. 47-yard kick return just outside the 20. When we come back, Claire Hanna will have more on the long-time friendship between our two starting quarterbacks here tonight. Well, let's flash it back. You'll notice a Hall of Famer on the left there, Enrique Ray. And who are these two babies on the right? Trevor Harris, Zach Collaros. They've known each other for a long time. For more on that relationship, let's send it down to Claire Hanna.
Yeah, Dustin, well, that was back in 2012 when the Argos won the Grey Cup. And yeah, those rookies were Trevor Harris and Zach Collaros. In fact, that was the first time they met. Now, that year they battled for the 3rd quarterback spot. They pushed each other in the weight room. They were even roommates. And you know what? They're still good friends to this day. They text in the offseason about what kind of workouts they should do to try to stay healthy in their old age. And earlier this season, they texted each other and said, hey, how cool would it be if we met in the West Final? Well, here they are. And Collaros said, I hope that Harris has a great game, but that we are one play better. And Harris told me, I love Zach, just not today, guys.
Hey, there's a lot left in the tank for both of these guys.
Both quarterbacks, absolutely. 5 Grey Cup rings between the two. Playoff records for Trevor Harris.
Collaros down the field, looking for Lawler again, and Kenny's got it. He's going to cut it back to the 40. Stiff arm to try to get away. They'll hang on. What a play from Kenny Lawler. Bombers rolling early.
Got a one-on-one with Amari Henderson out at the corner. And it's what he does when the ball arrives that makes the play right down the rail as Kenny Lawler, with the ball arriving, cuts back into the middle of the field to win the jump ball. Henderson floats as he's trying to get it past that ball, and Lawler cuts back and goes and rips it out of the air. 65-yard gain for 89.
96 yards already receiving in this game for Kenny Lawler. Finished the regular season red hot as well. Empty backfield for Collaros. Down the field, Lawler again. Touchdown, did he get there? Yes! Kenny Lawler's got a pair, and the Bombers extend the lead early.
Linebacker C.J. Avery and Jameer Thurman hugging the line, probably because they're looking at Brady Oliveira. In fact, Jameer Thurman takes him. There's no linebacker drop underneath this to give Roland Milligan or the secondary any help. Lawler just finds that soft spot and extends across the goal line.
Castile for a 14-point cushion here in the first quarter, and he's got it. Zach Collaros, 2 passing touchdowns, 156 yards. already in this game.
Couple of great looks at the route running from Kenny Lawler. He realizes he's up against the zone here, so he doesn't have to run through the zone. He's got Milligan pushed deep. He knows he's got a teammate taking the halfback in Millington deep in that outside third, and so he can find the soft spot right at the goal line. No linebackers. They were hugging the line of scrimmage.
Coaching staff obviously loving it. 120 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter for Kenny Lawler. And what an interesting development here we're seeing. So much talk all week about the run games, and bam, Zach Collaros hits you in the first quarter.
Sense of urgency now for Trevor Harris. You can bet he understands the momentum game. And right now, it's a snowball rolling downhill.
Got to put together a drive here. This place is already going nuts. Alford with speed at the 20. Takes it ahead. Trying to find some room. Great return. Pushes all the way out. Beyond the 50. A 36-yard return for Marlo Alford. Well, we are going to bring in one of our crew members here. Look at this. Enoch Mwamba, number 2 all-time in tackles per game. He is a Grey Cup champion, and he joins us right now. Enoch, how you doing, buddy?
Well, guys, I'm enjoying the game, and I'm watching it from the sideline. The energy is electric. But what I'm noticing right now is that the Blue Bombers are not utilizing Brady Oliveira like we thought they would. But he's still being a big part of this game as it's opening up stuff for Kenny Lawler as you're watching. But Kenny Lawler is the story of the game so far.
He has been absolutely outstanding. And now on the ground for the Riders to get this drive started, and we'll get our first look at the day of Rock Armstead, at least for that first touch.
Yeah, Armstead going to get a few reps. It depends on how A.J. Ouellette is rolling, but he will get some reps at tailback like he did in the West semifinal. A few first downs crucial here for the Riders. For really the only reason being that defense needs to regroup over there for Saskatchewan. They're on their heels trying to figure out how to stop 89.
Harris looking for a big first down. He wants more down the field. Schaefer Baker, and a flag does fly. You saw Baker look like he was interfered with partway down the field, and that's why he wasn't anywhere near that ball.
Pass interference.
And it landed
number
incomplete.
31. Automatic first down.
Evan Holm, the guilty party to a course of boos here at Princess Auto.
Looked like Evan Holm. He does stumble, and he basically trips Keon Schaefer Baker. It looked like Baker was going to run right by him. Schaefer Baker had him on that deep route.
Or maybe not a bad penalty to take then, if he'd already slipped. From the Winnipeg 32, Harris, end zone shot of his own! One-handed! Oh, almost had it! Couldn't hang on! That would have been an all-timer for Keyshawn Johnson.
One-on-one here. Terrell Bonds, little post route, and straight over the top. One-hander, can I pull it in? No! So close. Lots of room back there, too.
Couple of cracks at it here for Keyshawn Johnson. Outstanding rookie year out of Fresno State. Couldn't haul it in. 2nd and 10. Flags fly. Harris bouncing around the pocket. Down the field, incomplete. Looking for Emilus, but multiple flags on the play against the Riders.
It might have been early movement. It looked like one of their receivers may have been in that neutral zone.
I know, Richie. Offside. Saskatchewan number 89. Hundreds of fines. Third down.
Schaefer Baker jumping the gun. And the Riders will have to settle for a field goal attempt here from Brett Lothar, who's been excellent in the second half of the season. This will be a 40-yarder. Put some points on the board. You know they wanted more, but they'll certainly take 3 if they can get it. Korczak the hole. Lothar's kick is up. And that one, a no-doubter. And so you managed to keep the offense out there for a little bit. Now you're the Riders' defense. You gotta get a stop here.
Yeah, and it may be just to go ahead and start double teaming Kenny Lawler. The problem with that, if you double team a receiver, you're usually doing it with one of your cover linebackers, either C.J. Revis, maybe C.J. Avery, to help out a DB like Roland Milligan in the back end or DeMarcus Fields. However, when you do that, Brady Oliveira can escape.
A little bit of a predicament here for the Riders defense early.
Go! What is it?
Collaros throwing again. They'll get some pressure through, and he just has to dump it off. Open field, falls incomplete. Brian Cox Jr. forcing the issue there against Zach.
Well, I'm wondering if that was intentional grounding. Oliveira was about 10 yards away. There is a flag.
There is a flag.
And Collaros is trying to explain that Brady Oliveira was right by the sideline in front of Michael O'Shea.
They ran right by you.
Intentional
grounding. Winnipeg number 8.
Yeah, he was 10 yards. He was 10 yards away. And if you throw it and there's no receiver near the ball behind the line of scrimmage, it's intentional grounding. If it's across the line, you don't need a receiver anywhere near it. But there's Brady Oliveira coming down at the bottom of your screen, and they're suggesting that he wasn't close enough to make that a legal play.
That'll do it for an eventful opening quarter here in Winnipeg at Princess Auto Stadium. Settle in with us for the rest of the night as the Bombers and Riders look for a spot in the Grey Cup. Welcome back. Second quarter action coming up here in Winnipeg. Bombers lead 14-3. Passing yards jumping off the page here significantly.
Kenny Lawler almost 100-yard game already in that first quarter, couple touchdowns. So he is the key, and it's, game is always about adjustments, what you do once you see what the offensive game plan is. So for Corey Mace, it's how do we control or trying to contain Kenny Lawler right now in the passing game. I say just put Roland Milligan right up on him.
That's it.
And let's watch that matchup for the rest of tonight.
Power on power. We'll see how that goes. And Brady Oliveira is still going to factor into this game significantly at some point for the home side. Collaros will have it to get us started in the second quarter.
What is it?
2nd and 20 from his own 30. Dumps it off to Brady Oliveira. Bit of an escort. Pushing his way ahead. And eventually he'll be tracked down by C.J. Avery. And that'll bring up a third down for Winnipeg.
So it's not as easy as just saying put Roland Milligan onto Kenny Lawler. It's not just that easy because they'll move Lawler around. But the reason I said it is because, wow, what a season for Roland Milligan. He's just a playmaker, has been all season long. He has filled his stat sheet, led the league in interceptions, very close to leading the league in special teams tackles as well, and had a pick in the semifinal against the Lions. Often Lawler will line up on the short side. That's where Roland Milligan plays, but they'll play multiple defenses and they'll move Lawler around.
Kick is blocked, picked up by the Riders. What a turn of events. They'll take over just outside the 25. Caleb Sanders got a hand on it. Special teams comes up huge for Saskatchewan.
Little swim move from the defensive coaches right here in the middle of your screen. He's going to come right down the middle. Swim move at the line of scrimmage right there, and left hand, big block. changes field position immediately. Gives Trevor Harris plus territory in there. A first down away from the red zone.
Blocked by Sanders. Gobbled up by Adam LeClaire. And Trevor Harris has instant field position. Hands it off. Brock Armstead nowhere to go. Give him a yard on first down. Tanner Schmeckel in on the tackle.
Big play for the Riders to grab some momentum if they can convert with a major here. Little peek up and Caleb Sanders getting that left hand. See if Trevor Harris can take advantage of it.
Needs 9 yards here. 3 options to his left. Looks over the middle, down the field, incomplete. That one in behind Emelis, who does not have a catch yet in this ball game. And after the turnover, they'll have to settle for a field goal attempt.
Yeah, no, you can bet that they'll get on track here. Emelis is that middle receiver on that side, and Trevor Harris wanted to throw him open to the back shoulder, and Emelis just took it a little too far into the middle and ran right into the zone from Evan Holmes.
Couple of targets in the game for Emelis. No catches just yet. 33-yarder for Loeffler. Hit from 40 earlier in the game. This one just inside the left hash. And that one is up. And it is home as well. And the Riders back-to-back field goals to make things interesting here in the second quarter. Well, we're looking at half a decade straight of Zach Collaros being in the division title game, tying Cavill and Echeverry. But if you think that's good, if you think 5's good, how does this sound? How about 11 straight division title games, sir? Ron Lancaster.
Just amazing. The late, great Ron Lancaster, of course, was also a coach in the Canadian Football League with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and there is his grandson, Mark Mueller, with the coach's look on the sideline and now up in the booth as the offensive coordinator. Started in Calgary in 2014 as a defensive assistant, has coached running backs, quarterbacks, and now the OC in Regina.
He looked like a coach as a little guy, didn't he?
He sure did.
Big burst, first down, nice carry from Brady Oliveira, and there he is, hitting the helmet. That could be bad news for the Riders.
Yeah, talked about these two running backs being so similar. A.J. Ouellette for the Riders, Brady Oliveira for the Bombers, the leading rusher in the league. Both very similar players, both attack the line of scrimmage in very similar ways, are very physical, and both had the same mentor. And Andrew Harris, one of the best ever.
Decent guy to learn from. 2nd and 1. Wilson in the game, short yardage, and he escapes and is off to the races. Down to the 40, he'll find the 30, down the 20, looking for the corner, steps out of bounds. Did not see that coming well. Terry Wilson, short yardage, escapes for a big chunk.
Tough to see, but Brady Oliveira here, they need to seal this corner to get this type of play in short yardage. It looks like Marcus Sales maybe just went too far up the field in his angle. Terry Wilson taking over the short yardage with the injury to Chris Strevler early in the season, and a 48-yard run when all they needed was one.
Things continue to go very well for Winnipeg tonight. Terry Wilson, he might hang on to that ball forever. Collaros back in. Dembski and Lawler in the slot out to the right. Brady Oliveira stands into his left. Collaros, end zone, Dembski, touchdown! Winnipeg opens it up again! They're loving it at Princess Auto Stadium. Zach Collaros, 3 passing touchdowns. And we're early in the second.
You don't often see a zone defense at this part of the field, but Dembski recognizes it immediately. And when he does, it looked like Nelson Lacombe was going over to try and help on Kenny Lawler, and because of that, there was a void in the zone. Nick Dembski found it.
Castillo finishes it off. Just 3 plays, 70 yards. End zone again, Collaros, Dembski. What a start for Winnipeg.
This is what a hot start by Kenny Lawler does to the secondary. That's Nelson Lacombe, the safety. He's going to go out and help on Lawler, who is beside Nick Dembski. So if you see this roll, now watch Dembski sit down. There's on the outside. That's Lawler right there, getting double teamed. Dembski is open inside of him because of that move. Hot start by Lawler, and all of a sudden you pay more attention to him. And now Dembski opens up.
Terry Wilson put them in a great position on that huge carry on the short yardage play. Alford, can he find some space? He's got a little bit, but they'll force him out of bounds. Gauthier is there to make sure he couldn't find any more of that sideline. Well, Glenn, I don't think field goals are going to keep you in this football game tonight if you're the Riders.
No, Trevor Harris got to start trying to keep pace, and that means, I don't think it means getting crazy and playing 3-down football early. You just got to stay with the game plan. Can't score, 14 points in one series.
We got fake 61, F9, Fawcett, backside dog, get there on Monday, ready.
Harris is 2 of 6 for just 11 yards. As we near the midway point of the second quarter, Schaefer Baker, Keyshawn Johnson out to his right, looks over the middle, Schaefer Baker's got it, and he's got a first down. Dietrich Nichols there quickly on his back, 12 yards for Schaefer Baker.
Because of this crowd noise, Jacob Brammer to the right of your screen is going to tap. He's going to tap Peter Godber right there. Watch Brammer, he's going to tap him. Now, because they can't communicate verbally, Peter Godber is going to take the snap anytime he wants. That's how the crowd is messing with this offense.
Harris looking to throw again, down the field, incomplete, no flags for now as Emelis can't haul it in.
So what happens there is you lose the advantage offensively of having the snap count. Offense knows when the ball's going to be snapped. They can leave with that anticipation. The defense has to wait until they see the ball move. There's a split second there. With this crowd noise, the Riders had the edge last week. They don't this week. Brammer's going to tap Godber, and then anytime after that tap, Godber can snap the ball to Trevor Harris, but everybody has to watch the ball.
Big second down here. Harris, near side, open man, lunging ahead, should be a first down. And what a big play for Del Duncan Busby. Keep this offense on the field.
Yeah, it really is. And for Trevor Harris to battle through this issue and then just step up and deliver this one. Recognize that flat route was open. The Bombers' zone dropped off a little deep and got a 12-yard gain and an important first down.
Don't work from the Winnipeg 48. Harris in trouble, taken down. Hama gets there. First career playoff sack.
Disciplined pass rush up front. It was just four-man pressure with the spy from Tony Jones. But right here is Haba. He's going to get home, but watch how disciplined those four defensive linemen for the Bombers are. In their lanes, no escape lane for Trevor Harris, and Tony Jones, the middle linebacker, sitting back there spying just in case he finds a little lane.
Harris beats 12 yards here. Steps up in the pocket, down the field, broken up by Holm. He was all over Emelis.
defense didn't get up complaining at all. You can see it right in the middle of your screen that Holm he has the left hand on the shoulder, but he doesn't pull with that left hand and then punches the ball out with the right. Led the defense in Winnipeg in tackles from the halfback position.
By a significant margin. 85 tackles on the season for Evan Holm. Korczak forced to kick it away. Lucky Whitehead watching as this bounces and goes out of bounds just outside the 15. Let's send it down to Enoch Mama.
Well, guys, it's a fight for rhythm here tonight, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are the ones that found their rhythm early on, thanks to 2 big plays by Kenny Lawler. I mean, it's been amazing how he's able to track the ball. Zach Collaros' ball has not been necessarily accurate, especially the second one, but he found a way to get to it, and that has been a difference in the game. We saw a touchdown miss over here by Johnson, and another one shot here by Harris when he's trying to get the ball to Emilus. But beyond that, the rhythm is on the side of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Old Mo's wearing a blue jersey, that's for sure right now.
Right now. Go! Collaros, 172 yards, 3 touchdowns. Right up the middle, huge hole. Brady Oliveira powering his way ahead, and he'll rumble it out beyond the 30. His biggest carry of the night goes for 20 more.
That cross motion by Dembski and the Bomber receivers can really mess with linebackers. It can pull them outside, and that opens up a run lane off the left side for Brady Oliveira, and he's pounding it up the middle. The head slapping starting early for number 20.
Go! What is? What is it?
1st and 10 from their own 35. Pressure in the face of Collaros. Got it away. And that tackle will be made at the 40.
I called Andrew Harris, who is really a mentor for both A.J. Ouellette and Brady Oliveira, and he talked about how he knew Brady Oliveira since he's been 13 years old, and said it's amazing to see how his game has evolved. He's always been powerful and explosive, but now he's also patient. And Andrew Harris, one of the best to ever do it in the Canadian Football League, talked about aiming first just before you get the ball, then press the line of scrimmage, patiently wait for your blockers to open up, and then attack. A.J. Ouellette, same thing. He did it in Toronto for Ouellette.
2nd and 5. Collaros with time, and he finds Wilson, who hangs on to it for a 1st down.
I asked both those running backs this week, what did Andrew Harris teach you both? Because there's commonality there, and they both said the exact same thing. He taught me how to be a pro, and he taught me patience after receiving the football. So whether that's a swing pass or a handoff up the middle, patience while you let the block set up, and then hit it hard once you find your lane.
This time they'll go from the 49. Back to Brady Oliveira again, trying to find some space. Even the patience there didn't pay off that time, as the Riders outweighted them and locked them down.
Yeah, with that patience, that means the defense got to do the same thing. So stay in your lane.
Listen up.
There's gaps at the line of scrimmage between center and guard, or the A gap, strong and weak.
Check middle on Netflix. Ready?
Between guard and tackles are the B gaps. And there's a responsibility defensively for all of those gaps. You got to be patient in your gap defensively to stop these running backs.
2nd and 8. Pump fake. Now over the middle, and it's batted away. Played well by Carney, who was working against Brady Oliveira.
Notice this a couple of times. This is one of there's Brady Oliveira to the right of Zach Collaros offensively. He's going to get out of the pocket, and defensive end Malik Carney runs with them. In the loss, the first game with these two teams played against each other, Oliveira had 80 yards receiving in that game, was targeted 9 times, caught all 9.
Winnipeg, who scored touchdowns on 3 of their last 4 possessions, forced a kick here. Alford trying to open something up. Picks his way out to the 30, tries to cut it back, and he'll be tracked down just shy of that 30-yard line. Claire Hanna will have more on the Riders' offensive line when we return to Winnipeg. Well, it's been an interesting week for that offensive line of the Riders. For more, let's send it down to Claire Hanna.
Well, Dustin, in fact, all season, the Riders have been playing a game of musical chairs when it comes to their offensive line. And last week in the West semifinal is a perfect example. In the second quarter, left tackle Trevor Reed left the game with a knee injury. So Peter Godberg, who is naturally a center, entered the game. Well, Logan Furland, who was at center, he was pushed out to left tackle. But then he had a quick conversation with Trevon Tate, and they flipped sides. And you know what? All season, they've been making these kind of adjustments. In fact, 14 different offensive linemen have been playing for the Riders. Trevor Harris says sometimes they've been scraping the bottom of the barrel, but now they are so used to playing with different personnel, guys.
Here's A.J. Ouellette right through that offensive line and all the way out to midfield.
Right off the right side where Logan Furland, who moved over to right tackle, lines up along with Jacob Brammer, who's helping with the snap, and they open up that right side. Peter Godber got his man in the middle. That was Jake Thomas. Big run off the right side for A.J. Ouellette, 26-yarder.
Only 14 yards in the game prior to that for A.J. Ouellette. That's a big one. Up to the 54. Harris finds Schaefer Baker. And that'll be another first down for Saskatchewan.
Boy, lots of traffic in there, but Trevor Harris, tremendous accuracy. He has the CFL record for completion percentage in the playoffs. The playoff game was almost at 80% in the West semifinal, and he threaded the needle there.
Has to drop it over top of Tony Jones just to get it into that tight window. Third catch of the game for Schaefer Baker. Ouellette with a spin, opens himself up a bit, pushes it down to the 40 as the tackle made there by Garbutt.
Of course, Andrew Harris also mentored A.J. Ouellette and told me that when he first arrived, and this will not surprise anybody who knows A.J. Ouellette, he wanted to run over everyone every play. But we became friends, and then they worked together on taking half of a tackler. Don't take them on head on. Go for half of them, like a shoulder.
We've hit 3 minutes in the first half at Princess Auto Stadium.
Halftime coming up with the panel. We're going to give a lot of love to Kenny Lawler, who's having a great first half. Some missed opportunities by the Roughriders. And just in case you missed it, the Toronto Argonauts off to the 111th Grey Cup in Vancouver. Who will join them?
A lot still to be determined just in the next 3 minutes of what will be the discussion at halftime as the Riders desperately look for the end zone. But they're on the Winnipeg 41 right now. A.J. Ouellette moves over to the left side of his quarterback, Trevor Harris. And a flag before the ball is snapped. Del Duncan Busby, I think.
Offside. Saskatchewan 18.
It is him.
This is the challenge of home field advantage for the visitors, because the receivers also have to look at the snap of the ball. Duncan Busby's at the top of your screen, and you see after Brammer tapped Godber, he held on to it for an extra second or 2 count, and Duncan Busby's timing was off. And it's loud in here.
Oh, it's loud.
It is loud.
2nd and 12. Bombers will bring some heat. Harris gets it away. Schaefer Baker has it. And he's a couple yards shy of the first down that they desperately need. They'll settle for a field goal attempt again as Lawler trots onto the field.
Yeah, 1 more yard, and Corey Mace may have been tempted to go for it here, but it's still got more than a half to play. Field goal, climb a little bit closer. It's not a chip shot though. Brett Lawler's been excellent in the final back half of the season.
This is a 44-yard attempt from just inside that left hash. Bombers kick is up. That looks money. Right down the middle. 21-9. So Zach Collaros will get the ball back here. He's 12 of 14, 187 yards, 3 touchdowns. If you're the Riders and you want any sort of momentum, any sort of life going into the half, you cannot allow Collaros
trips right
to drive the field again.
Zoom, 1F brick, kilo, stack Charlie, Omar, ready?
1F brick?
Yeah.
Bit of a different language, isn't it, when you're calling a play?
No idea what's happening there. None.
What is that?
At all whatsoever.
How about a handoff to Oliveira?
That's what they do. And it's pushed back at the line of scrimmage. Malik Carney involved in that one.
Well, with a couple of first downs and field goals, the Riders slowed things down a little bit, at least enough time for the Rider defense to sort of regroup. Now, this is 2nd and long, and it's what you want to be, and we'll see what Corey Mace has here. Carney's made a couple plays in this first half.
He has been noticeable. Riders defense allowing just 80 yards per game on the ground. 3 to the left, 3 to the right. One of those guys is Brady Oliveira. Clarence finds him, and he's got a first down. Turns it upfield. Tackle made by C.J. Avery, but not before Brady Oliveira found at least 10 yards. They'll give him 12.
The Bombers empty the backfield. They put 3 on the right side, 3 on the left side into the boundary. One of the 3 was Brady Oliveira. I mentioned in the 2 of the 3 games, Oliveira had more yards receiving than he did rushing against the Rider defense. Again, the #1 defense against the run, but another way that the Bombers utilize Brady Oliveira is out of the backfield, and that's a big first down.
Go! What is that?
Back to Brady again. They looked at and miss. Eventually Thurman tracks him down, but not before a pretty good pickup of 6 on first down with 1:39 remaining in the half.
And this is what Oliveira and Ouellette were telling me about attacking half the tackler. Oliveira's going to get this. He sees it. He's patient with that cutback and then attack the tackler halfway. So don't hit Jameer Thurman dead on. Just go for one shoulder. That's a way you can break a tackle and make another 2 or 3 yards out of the play.
50 yards on 7 carries.
Go!
Audible here.
What is it?
Collaros looking for Dembski. He finds him. Turns it upfield. First down. Nick Dembski, who was involved heavily early in the game, hauls one in here.
A little slow to get up for Nick Dembski. He's limping back to the huddle. When Zach Collaros, you heard there say kill, kill, what he was doing was changing the play at the line of scrimmage. He saw something in the Rider defense, likely a man look, get a rub to get Nick Dembski out in the open in the flat.
Come on. Go!
Bit of a limp.
What is it?
For Dembski. Back on the ground again. And they'll hang on for dear life. And track him down. C.J. Avery with the tackle on Brady Oliveira. Collaros is already over 200 passing yards in this game, and a big second down with 50 seconds remaining.
Yeah, this is a big second down. Buck Pierce down on the sideline as the OC and quarterback coach. Came out slinging it. Kenny Lawler here, Kenny Lawler there, a couple touchdowns when everyone, including Corey Mace, talking about stopping Brady Oliveira.
Winnipeg 8 for 11 on second down. Just 2 incompletions in the game for Collaros. Wide open over the middle. Lucky Whitehead. And that looks like it'll be enough for a first down. Awfully close if it isn't.
Smart play by Lucky Whitehead here. He's short of the first down. He starts to the left of your screen. He's short of the first down, but he knows where the marker is and turns immediately to go get it. Nope, don't make a move. Don't dance there. If you dance, you might not get it.
He got it. 7th play of the drive, moving quickly. from the Rider 33, already within Castillo field goal range. Brady Oliveira has that one just slipped through his hands with 20 seconds remaining. Third incompletion of the game for Zach.
Doesn't happen very often. I think in those two games where he had 80 yards in one and 60 in the other, he was targeted a total of 15 times, caught 14 of them.
That's usually an automatic right there.
That's automatic.
Go!
So they still need all 10. Collaros, tough time back there. On the run to his right, finds Dembski. Dembski trying to find that first down marker. What a move! And he's got it! Oh, Nick Dembski. 7th catch of the game is a big one. How about that move inside?
First of all, they're going to take and cover down Brady Oliveira so he can't go out in the flat and become a receiver. So they're going to do that defensively. That opens up and helps to open up Nick Dembski. He's one-on-one, and what a move to get the extra 3 or 4 he needed.
Marcus Sales.
There's 11 seconds left. Kick the field goal.
3rd and inches.
Yeah, I don't think Coach O'Shea wants to risk losing a chance to get at least 3 here.
They are going to go for it.
Well, they are going to go for it.
3rd and inches. Could have just settled for the field goal here, but the push ahead, and they will get the first down with 8 seconds on the clock. We got time for a throw to the end zone and then take the 3.
It's risky. You're right on the bubble here, I would say. It's like a fade route to the end zone, throw it immediately to the outside shoulder, but I think Coach O'Shea realized that at 8 seconds it's too risky.
Just going to kick it now.
Take the 3, yeah.
Well, it took 3 seconds off the clock there. Got the first down. Now they'll kick the field goal.
Well, the risk is there, though, that a fumble or something happens on that play that you basically let it run down here until there's zeros on the first half clock, and then kick the field goal and go in with a 24-9 lead.
Castillo, 79.7% on the year. 30 of 31 from inside, 40, and that's where this one is. 30-yarder to wrap up the half. And Winnipeg comfortably on top here, Suits.
Great start for Kenny Lawler right out of the gate with all eyes on Brady Oliveira from the Rider defense. What did Zach Collaros do? He came out and started slinging it to 89. Nice crossing post route from one side of the formation to the other for his first touchdown. Deep one down the rail. We cut inside. Over 100 yards in the first quarter alone for number 89 and 2 touchdowns.
Big players step up in big moments. Kenny Lawler's one of them, and he's standing down on the field with their hand.
Kenny, 3 touchdowns for your team in this first half, 2 for yourself personally. How would you describe this start?
Strong start. I wore on my shirt today. Punch first, keep swinging. So that's what we're doing. We came out, lights out. Now it's time to keep swinging and finish it up.
How is the threat of your run game opening things up for you?
Oh, the threat of the run game opens up a lot. You know, has to keep those guys in the box so we can throw over the top of their head. We're very versatile on offense, and that's nice. We like to be balanced.
Kenny, thank you.
Thank you.
You.
Back inside the CFL and TSN studios, David Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel, and Kenny Lawler with a great first half as his Bombers currently up 24-9 and just efficient Blue Bombers football, which we have seen all season long. Not at the beginning, but then once they got their mojo, you could completely understand where this team was going. And for Lawler, he was great. Brady Oliveira, he has already 50 yards in this game. And Milt, we talked about this in pregame. He didn't have 50 yards on the ground against the Riders all season long, and he's got that in the first half. The Stars have come out to play for this team.
As you mentioned, this team offensively is very efficient. You know, you look at Zach, he's 16 for 19, 228 yards and 3 touchdowns. And they have many weapons on this team, but when it's time to make the big plays, they know who they need to go to. And the man they just interviewed, Kenny Lawler, is the main guy. He can go up and get the ball like no other. I talked to one of the best DBs in the league, Gary Peters, and he always says Kenny Lawler has the best hands in the league, and he's showing that. And then in the run game, Brady Oliveira. And there was a chance where he wasn't going to be able to get utilized this game because we know what the Roughriders can do with their run defense. But so far, these Blue Bombers have just been dominating. They've been spreading the ball around. They've been getting big plays. They haven't turned the ball over. So the Roughriders have to find a way to come out in the second half and do something, put some pressure on Zach or stop someone. Otherwise, it's going to be a long second half.
Yeah, Milton, that first East final, there wasn't clean play like we're seeing here by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. This is the way you want your football team to play for 60 minutes. The first 30 minutes, check. It's been outstanding. And it just wasn't the big names, Lawler and Oliveira. It was Zach Collaros using his legs. Got to love this. Can run into his left, scramble his left. Doesn't typically do that. Terry Wilson, how about this one? Breaking it big time. You look, I mean, these are explosive plays that put you in basically gimme territory. Dembski scores on the next play. Haba, Celestin Haba getting his first career quarterback sack, playoff sack right there. And then what about Evan Holmes going to work? He's been doing it all season long. All-star, all CFL player in my mind, 24/7. It's a group of players that are coming together, and it looks like the week of rest that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have is paying off big time. They're fresh, they're on the same page, flying around. Some great weather, which you typically don't see this time of year, and they got to be loving life right now because everything is going their way.
They got to feel good. The Riders are far from out of this game. I really think, things I'm seeing out there, I think Trevor Harris can move the ball, and they just got to find ways to score some points when they're in the red zone and not get field goals. They've had their opportunities. You got the kick return here for a couple good kick returns from Alford that gives them good field position. Later on, they had the block punt again. They had this block punt. After that, they went 2 plays and ended up kicking another field goal. So this is a defense in Saskatchewan. They're near the bottom of the league in yards given up, but that's okay because that's the style of defense that they play. They turn you over as much as anyone in the league. So although they give up yards, that's to be expected because that's how they play. They'll let you march the ball, but will eventually turn you over. They're far from out of this game. I think they can come back in the second half. They just got to find a way to score.
Yeah, they got to find the red zone.
Yeah,
I mean, absolutely. Field goals are great, but when the Bombers are doing what they're doing, I mean,
Didn't our colleague Lapo stand over there?
I was going to say,
talking about red zone. They got to punch it in there.
Look at us giving credit to Lapo, even though he's already ditched us already. He's like, I'm out of here. This game, I'll tell you. Anyways, let's get over to Enoch Mwamba. And Enoch, what a game so far by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. You're there, you're seeing it right in front of your eyes. What have they done so well, and what does Sass need to do?
I mean, it's been absolutely physical here so far. It's been physical on the side of the Bombers. They're doing a great job of obviously getting into rhythm. Zach Collaros is the one really that's taken over this game, getting the ball to Kenny Lawler, who's done a tremendous job. I'm looking at the Saskatchewan Roughriders now, Kate, and I'm trying to see how will Trevor Harris going to get back into rhythm. He's a rhythm kind of quarterback, and is he going to be able to get his pitch and catches, not trying to go deep and get them go back into the game too fast? And I'm looking to see as well, they're falling behind, how much that running game is going to play a factor going forward.
And Enoch, just one thing we would all appreciate if you put the sunglasses back on. Come on, do it for us, Enoch.
It's getting dark here.
It doesn't matter. It's the cool thing to do.
All right, all right.
Appreciate it, our Enoch Mwamba. We'll see you in Vancouver, and we'll see who will be with the Toronto Argonauts in Vancouver. By the way, if you missed that first game, we got highlights coming up between the Argonauts and the Alouettes. Meanwhile, Winnipeg putting on a bit of a clinic in the first half, up 24-9.
Kenny Lawler way.
As promised, Argos taking on the Alouettes. First quarter action, Cody Fajardo pass can be bobbled by Walter Fletcher. And then it's going to be intercepted by Benji Franklin. Franklin all the way to the house for the touchdown. One of the Alouettes' 6 turnovers on the day. They were so good this season at taking care of the ball. Not in this one. Argos up early. However, in the third, Chad Kelly scrambles. He gets hit. Kelly goes down awkwardly. When he stood up, he couldn't put any pressure on his leg. It is a broken tibia. He is undergoing surgery tonight. He will be out for approximately 6 to 9 months. Oh, just awful to see. In the fourth, under a minute left, Nick Arbuckle airs it out for Brissett, and Tyrese Beverette makes the early contact. He's going to be called for pass interference. Argos would end up running out the clock as they get revenge from last year's Eastern final against Montreal, and they head to their second Grey Cup in the last 3 seasons. The Argonauts through to their 25th Grey Cup final. The Double Blue have an 18-6 record in the championship game. They have won their last 7 trips to the Cup. Their last loss coming back in 1987. With more from Montreal, Matthew Shinetti.
Alongside the coach Jim Barker and our CFL insider Dave Naylor, before Chad Kelly was taken off the field, I was going to say, where do we begin talking about this game? And, you know, certainly Chad Kelly has now gone to Montreal General Hospital to be assessed. But, Dave, when you think about Nick Arbuckle's journey and COVID maybe messing up his opportunity in Ottawa, then being bounced around a couple times, what did this moment you think mean for him?
Well, you used the word bounced, and Nick Arbuckle has ridden the waves of the Canadian Football League and just what professional football does to you. Opportunities given, opportunities taken away. I honestly thought in 2023, when he was with Ottawa and he didn't play very well, I didn't know if we'd see Nick Arbuckle again in the Canadian Football League. But he comes back to the Argonauts in a reserve role, and man, what a tough situation to go into. He made 3 key throws in that game that kept drives alive. And I think, you know, if you're Montreal, when you see Chad Kelly go out of that game and you got to play a quarterback who's barely played this season, to have to walk into this game at that stage and be able to make those key throws, I mean, Nick Arbuckle, football has a weird way of coming around full circle, right? You take your lumps, you take your bumps, and then your opportunity comes. He rose to the occasion.
Well, back to Chad Kelly. Before going out, he struggled in the first half. But to me, the whole TSN turning point was when they had the ball on the 2-yard line coming out. They're struggling offensively, and he scrambles out and throws an absolute bullet to Janarian Grant, who isn't normally a receiver, and then took the team down the field. And again, courageous run, and he you know, it was, well, again, we don't know what it is, but it's not going to be good for Chad. And I know he was in the locker room in tears, and to watch this team rally was emotional. It was emotional to watch.
And to that point, I came up to you right away after the injury happened and said, this reminds us of the 07 East Final when Kevin Glenn injured his arm, and then Ryan Dinwiddie had to start the game in Toronto against Saskatchewan. What kind of parallels did you see?
Well, it's totally this. I mean, who better to get Nick Arbuckle ready for a Grey Cup game when he hasn't played all year than a guy who did it? Now, Ryan wasn't successful, but you learn a lot when you're in a failure. And while they didn't win the game, he will now be able to take that to Nick Arbuckle, and he'll have advantages going into that Grey Cup game next week.
Well, and he's got a little bit of confidence as well. Even though when he played that final regular season game, Nick Arbuckle played very well for the Toronto Argonauts in that game. It wasn't a game that mattered, but when you combine that with what he was able to do in the fourth quarter here, he's got a bit of momentum going to the Grey Cup as well.
We didn't think it would be Nick Arbuckle leading the Argos to the Grey Cup in Vancouver, but it will be number 4, not number 12, leading the Argos out next week.
Someone who remembers 2007, Milt Stegall?
Shut up, Kate.
It's not nice.
That's what we hear all the time in here.
Yeah, I remember it, Kate. I remember it. Thanks a lot.
24-9, Winnipeg leads as we get set for second half action.
Lawler over 100 yards in the first quarter receiving. They activated Brady Oliveira in the second. He got going there. Big game, or big first half for Zach Collaros so far.
Roland Milligan is standing by with Claire Hanna.
Roland, the Bombers scored 3 touchdowns in that first half. How do you limit their offense?
We just got to do our jobs and make sure we're executing what we call them. That's all. Nothing fancy.
What was the message at half?
We just got to play our best ball. You know, we've been in positions like this before. We just got to do what we've been doing and don't give up. Just make sure we keep doing what we're doing. Take it one play at a time.
Thank you.
Well, Toronto awaits the winner. It's the 111th Grey Cup. Saskatchewan, can they complete a comeback here? Or will it be Winnipeg versus Toronto at BC Place in Vancouver next week?
Riders will get the ball first in this second half. They won the toss and deferred. Need some field position from that man, Mario Alford. Possibly a turnover or two to try and get on the comeback trail here.
They're only down 15.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like they're down 30 at half. They need to finish some drives, create a turnover or two, and they're right in the thick of this thing. Winnipeg, though, has been outstanding so far in this football game, so that's going to be easier said than done. Castile will get us started. Are the Bombers a half away from a 5th trip to the Grey Cup? Let's find out. Mario Alford on the return. He takes it just outside the 30. Wrapped up there before he could get free by Evan Holm.
Trevor Harris has been saying all season to his teammates, don't flinch. No matter what the situation, don't flinch. Sit down by 15. Continue to run the offense. You heard Enoch Mwamba talk on the sideline about
we got the W, baby.
how much will they continue to engage the running game.
Lakers right flop.
At least in the first half of this third quarter, they don't need to deviate too much from the game plan because they had some shots. Keyshawn Johnson almost had a touchdown.
6 completions in the first half for Harris, 4 of them to Schaefer Baker. Throwing here quickly, finds Keyshawn Johnson, turns, made one man miss. The help comes in the form of Alexander, and he'll wrap him up and make sure he can't find that first down marker.
So that's what's going to happen, and that's where Trevor Harris, by example in the huddle, will be nice and calm and cool. Comes out slinging, nice little slant route, get things going on offense. Convert a couple of first downs. Try to finish with a major instead of the field goals.
Field goals will not cut it. 2nd and 3 here. A.J. Ouellette stands in to the left of Harris. Throwing again, quick throw again! Almost intercepted. Did he get underneath that? Terrell Bonds, they're going to say he did. Takes it away from Harris. Now they'll wave it off.
Yeah, they're talking about it now. One said catch. I saw that
on the field. It's an incomplete pass.
They're saying incomplete.
Yeah, the one official did signal for a catch, but it was waved off by another. Here's a look.
Yeah, you can see it hit the turf a couple of times, rolled into his arms. But wow, Terrell Bonds jumping that quick route by Keyshawn Johnson.
Harris dodges a bullet. Bonds had 1 interception, 6 knockdowns in the regular season. Riders will be forced to kick it away early in the 3rd. Korshak stands on his own 26. Oh, now he's going to keep it. Look at this. They're going to fake it, and Korshak's got the first down. That's how you get some momentum as the Riders fake it inside their own 40 and pick up the first down.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, and that's exactly what this is this early in the second half, to go ahead and try the fake. Usually in a punt return situation, somebody has got to be there to ensure the kick. There's one player designated for the Bombers. He wasn't there. Korshak took it for the first down.
Well, will we view that as a turning point in this football game? Harris back on the field. This time he'll hand it off to A.J. Ouellette. Cuts it back, but there was nowhere to cut. As he's wrapped up, Tony Jones was right there.
Well played by Tony Jones, as he's just going to slow play this. It's going to go pull, 2 linemen pulling to the right from the left side, and 33 just slow plays it and is right there in the hole for the cutback lane.
Back to the original line of scrimmage. No further.
Tony Jones learned from the best. That was Adam Bighill.
Yeah, Bighill will help you. Harris down the field. There's Emelis. His first catch of the ball game will go for a first down and move the Riders inside the Bomber 50.
Plays like that will help the Riders start to believe. I know it's just a curl. I know it's just a first down. It's not like a big play down the field for a major. But you make a couple of first down plays, fake a punt, start to believe the comeback is possible, and then you start to stack plays and stack first downs.
Injured Bomber down on the field too. This is Retta Cramdy as the athletic therapist staff having a chat with Cramdy, who had a great year. 59 tackles, couple of sacks, 6 tackles for a loss, 5 knockdowns. And we will step aside as they continue to chat with Retta Cramdy. Corey Mace watching on as his club looks to keep this ball moving. 1st and 10 from the Winnipeg 49. Harris, shoulder fake, down the field. Schaefer Baker spins, stays on his feet momentarily, but takes it down inside the 15 and just outside the 10, where they eventually blow it down as Trevor Harris, 37 yards to Schaefer Baker.
In the Banjo Bowl, Schaefer Baker had 120 yards receiving in that loss. It was a big game statistically for Trevor Harris. He would prefer to take the win, but a huge play on first down. Try to double move on the outside to Keyshawn Johnson. That didn't work, and Trevor Harris calmly went right back to read number 2, which was Schaefer Baker.
First trip to the red zone today for the Riders. 57% on the season. And now whistles. Another ball had popped out onto the field in the end zone. And I believe that's why things were blown down.
Timer, please reset the game clock to 11:51. 11:51, please.
Here we go. We got wide screen to wide.
14 seconds back on. That end zone, fans in behind there. Rowdy as Harris tries to drive the Riders down the field. Another completion inside the 5 as he goes right back to Emelis. First 2 catches of the game on this drive for Emelis.
Put 3 to the field, and Emelis is the middle receiver. And he's just running a slant. Little play action. That holds the DBs. Evan Holmes there to make the tackle, but not break it up.
Here we go. Hey, we got Brady on one. Ready? Let's go. Right side.
First and goal.
Brady sounds like a straight on. Let's run it in there.
Trevor Harris. Will it be a quarterback keeper? Hands it off. A.J. Ouellette goes up. And is he in? Yes! Touchdown Riders! A.J. Ouellette elevates to the end zone.
Let's go.
And Saskatchewan stays within striking distance.
Let's go.
When we've heard the quarterbacks call the plays in the huddle, we've heard all kinds of terminology and different code words, but this time was just Brady up the middle. Ouellette over the top and did break the plane. Tony Jones met him the top of that jump.
Yes, sir.
How big was the fake kick, the fake punt, a first down, and then the throw to Schaefer Baker on this drive?
Couple of big plays on an 8-play, 77-yard drive. Lother puts that one right down Main Street. And the Riders get the 3rd touchdown of the playoffs for that man, A.J. Ouellette. Visitors have life.
Well, it starts with a fake punt by Adam Korczak. Notices that there's no one securing the kick and gets the first down. Then Emelis with the catch. 8 plays later, 77 yards, 37-yarder to Keon Schaefer Baker down the middle. And then straight run for A.J. Ouellette. Just a half a yard into the end zone over Tony Jones.
Trevor Harris 4 for 5 on that drive to get things going here in the second half. 70 yards. He's now at 127. Lucky Whitehead takes it at the 15. Now up to the 25. 30 for Lucky Whitehead, and eventually forced out of bounds by Eau Claire, just shy of the 35.
Remember that Kenny Lawler got a slow start to the season because he was injured early. Came in late, but what a finish. You look at his last 5 games versus Edmonton, 130 yards, 100 yards against the Argos and Als. 2 very good defenses there, by the way. Congratulations to the Toronto Argonauts going to the Grey Cup for beating Montreal earlier, and then 120 versus Saskatchewan. That was all in 1 quarter of play.
What is this? Start on their own 35. Brady Oliveira turning it upfield. Gets a few yards. Everybody in on that tackle. Brown, Micah Johnson, Carney, all getting a piece of him there.
Hey, keep running, keep running.
2nd and 7. That's what they'll face. Brady Oliveira.
Right, Taz. 51
in that first half, 8 carries for 50 yards.
All along, ready?
Oliveira now down at the bottom of your screen. Empty backfield for Collaros. 4 to the right. Throws to the left. It was deflected and falls. Incomplete. Was looking for Lawler. And the Riders defense forces a 2-and-out. Just the 2nd of the game for Winnipeg.
That was either Miles Brown or Malik Carney who gets there. Number 11's making a difference here for the Saskatchewan Roughriders on defense. He's got outside move. There's Miles too. It was Miles Brown from the interior that got his hand on it, but Carney was up the field and may have got the sack had Zach hung on to it for a split second longer.
Jamison Sheen had 1 blocked in the first half. No pressure this time. Gets it away cleanly. A lower kick. Alford will take it at the 30. 42-yard kick. Mario Alford back outside the 40 on the far side of the field. And the Riders will get the ball back here. Beautiful night in Winnipeg. And great look at the legislature. Lit up for Remembrance Day. Welcome back to Winnipeg. Let's send it back down to the sidelines with Enoch Mwambu.
Well, guys, this is exciting. There's a lot going on. The Riders are trying to get back into this game. I just found out from the sideline that Corzette, the punter, when he got that first down, it wasn't even called from the sideline, but he saw an open edge and he went ahead and got it. But you got to make special plays if you want to get back in this game, and that's a good way to do it.
What a call by Korshak.
Wow. Yeah.
Holy smokes.
He's a 2nd-year guy. I mean, okay. It worked.
Riders get the ball back here, trailing by 8. Harris, wide open, far side. Duncan Busby will take it out of bounds.
Now, there was initially a penalty on Brandon Alexander, the free safety for Winnipeg, that was picked up. So that's why the field position was back where it started. And now Trevor Harris is in a 2nd and 2.
Here we go. We got Rebel left, X tandem. We got 52 hot, X Dubai. Backside front AR juice. On foot, ready.
2nd, and a pretty manageable 2 yards here for Harris. A.J. Ouellette sets up shop directly in behind him. Now out to the right. Harris throws over the middle behind the outstretched arm of Schaefer Baker. And that'll bring up 3rd down, and they'll have to kick it away.
Yeah, a little surprised that number 45 wasn't involved on this play for Saskatchewan. He's out in the flat in the passing game. And maybe the thought was that that would be the safer throw for Trevor Harris. He thought he had the slant inside and just missed it. But on 2nd and 2, I'm surprised he didn't try it with Ouellette up the middle. They'll guarantee this kick.
Can you imagine if Forsyth did it again?
Well, the Bombers will be watching it this time.
Gets this one away. A nice kick, too. Lucky Whitehead scrambles backwards, takes it at the 11. Makes a little bit of... Here's Brady Oliveira on the crowd at Princess Auto.
And I think a regular season sellout, for example, a regular season Banjo Bowl sellout, is different than a West Finals sellout at Princess Auto Stadium. It's just, like I said, the intensity rises and the fans just get louder and there's just more on the line, right? So the fans really come out and they know what's at stake as well, and their voices get raised even louder.
Well, hats off to the Bomber faithful and just all the great fans. I mean, how many sellouts in a row now? I think it's 5 or 6.
What is that?
One of those games didn't change anything in the playoffs.
Collaros leaves that one up there, but they go and get it. Carrick Wheatfall with his first catch of the game.
See C.J. Avery there trying to coach up his fellow teammates in the secondary. He was screaming to go get this, and Kenny Lawler won the fight to get back to it. Or excuse me, Wheatfall coming back to that football.
Collaros is now connected with 7 different targets. Brady Oliveira runs into Thurman, trying to get away from him. And he gets at least 9, almost the full 10 hard yards with Thurman all over him.
So where was he when he got first contact? Because Brady Oliveira cut the tackler in half here by attacking the shoulder of Jameer Thurman. Rather than go right after the 6 and try to take on the linebacker head on, he split him in half. See how he attacked that right shoulder? That gave him another 4 or 5 yards.
Brady Oliveira sitting at 64 yards on 10 carries. Second down.
Rhino!
And it will be second down.
Second down.
Looked like they were confused, thought maybe it would be a first down, but
Please reset the clock to 7:25.
it will be second down.
7:25.
And inches for Buck Pierce, offensive coordinator of the Bombers.
Mentioned Avery turning to his defensive back teammates, saying, go get that one. Avery had 9 tackles in the first half. This Rider defense.
With Terry Wilson in the game. Remember, he went for 48 yards.
Hey, we got shift to jumbo right.
Earlier in the game on a short yardage play. They just need inches. Wilson, as we look from above, pushing it ahead. That'll do it. Takes it all the way up to the 50 for the first down for Winnipeg.
That gives you a good look at guys like Micah Johnson and Miles Brown head-to-head with Liam Dobson and Patrick Neufeld, just banging in there just to try and get a few inches for the first down, and the Bombers get it done. All-star season for Micah Johnson.
Bombers 24-16 lead. Ball on their own 50. Collaros is 17-21 for 241. Now he just pitches it ahead into the hands of Dembski.
He had 6 quarterback sacks on the season. 4th time he was all CFL selection. 2 Grey Cup titles in 14 and 18 in Calgary. 18 in Calgary and 65 career sacks for number 4. He had 4 tackles for losses too, so you're basically 10 plays behind the line of scrimmage against opposing offenses.
He just keeps going. He just keeps producing.
Go! Wide in! What is that?
2nd and 7. Riders send 4. Collaros a ton of time. Down the field, wide open. Who else? Kenny Lawler. Touchdown, Winnipeg. A hat trick for Lawler. And the Bombers open it up again on a deep strike from Collaros.
Kenny Lawler is going to take advantage of a bust outside. It looked like it was Amari Henderson again. that wide side corner spot. He thought he had help over the top, and he didn't. And Lawler is free in behind coverage.
The wrong guy to leave wide open in behind you. He's at 177 yards in this West final. Kenny Lawler. 5 plays, 84 yards, less than 3 minutes. Ends with a 57-yard strike to Kenny Lawler. See you later.
Let's take a look at the bust here from the Saskatchewan secondary. It's a cover 3. That means 3 guys have got to be deep. They've got 2 right here. Now, of the other 2 players on the wide side of the field, that's Milligan and Amari Henderson, they've got to have one of those 2 be deep. I'm not sure which was in the call, but stop it there. You see both of them are up at this short route, and Kenny Lawler is in behind coverage. Cover 3 deep zone. You've got to keep 3 guys back there, or Zach Collara is going to make you pay.
301 yards, 19 of 23, 4 touchdown passes for Collaros, 3 of them to that man, Kenny Lawler, who's having one of the best games of his career. Collaros has to be happy. 5.5 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. Fist pumps upstairs for the Winnipeg staff. Will be required from the Riders. Maybe this guy can give it to him. Mario Alford once again nowhere to go as they wrap him up down the field. One Bomber slow to get up there. Trevor Harris watching on as he gets ready for a critical drive late in the 3rd. Coming off his best drive of the game. Noah Hallett is down on the field. Let's try to get a look at what happened to him.
Friendly fire from Chris Ike.
Onto that left leg, it looked like. O'Shea watching on. We mentioned it coming in. This Winnipeg punt cover team so far this season, or kick returns in general, but so far this year, let's just say on punts, they allow less than 10 yards per return. Number 1 in the league. So maybe we shouldn't be surprised that they've somewhat contained Mario Alford so far in this game.
Now, Alford is running with a jump in his step. I've noticed that in the first half. And you know he's very capable of making that big return, and the Riders just may need it. You start to get the feeling that they're going to need a turnover on defense, which is something they're very familiar with this year, or a big return from Mario Alford. But you're right. Against this cover team, it's going to be tough.
Riders started this drive on their own 29. 3 options to the right for Harris. His running back slides out there as well. They'll toss it to Schaefer Baker. Can he find some space? They'll blow it down. He'll take off, and eventually they'll say, hey, man, pump the brakes here as they blew him down on forward progress.
Pretty good team defense here to just string this out on Schaefer Baker and basically run him out of room, which is saying something on a 65-yard wide field.
He got 5, so we'll need 5 more. Harris is at 140 yards on 12 of 20. looks to his right. Now down the field, and that is broken up. Evan Holm was there. Got a hand in on Emelis. Third down coming up.
Evan Holm wasn't an all-star in the all-CFL team, but this guy should be. He's had a heck of a season. We talked about his tackles, leading the team from the halfback spot. Also, 9 passes defended, and that's another one here added to that list in the West Final.
Couple of tackles tonight. Couple of pass knockdowns as well. Korshak gets it away. Lucky Whitehead takes it into 35, pushes it straight ahead, about 5 yards on the return as Auclair was there to make the special teams tackle.
Take a look at Roland Milligan. Talked about his special teams tackles, his contributions there. For most of the season, he led the league. I believe he finished 3rd overall when it came to an end. He had to block Willie Jefferson, then he covers the kick, turns it inside, makes sure he's in position to help out with the tackle. Doesn't necessarily make that play, but is in his lane. And now, about 10-15 seconds later, he's lining up at halfback against Kenny Lawler.
Let it roll, let it roll! Good luck with that.
Hang in there.
But the way things have been going tonight for Lawler. Now they'll get it into the hands of Dembski. And Dembski's tracked down. Avery was there. Milligan as well. CJ Avery, 9 tackles in the first half of this ballgame.
Yeah, and that's why he was turning around fired up, saying we can make these plays and trying to get Milligan into that. Remember, he had a pick in the semi late in the season. The Riders could big time use one now.
Go! What is that? Collaros needs 4 more. Little draw here to Oliveira. He's got it. Thurman will grab him, but it's too late. Picks up the first down out to the 54.
Aiming point, then you press the line of scrimmage, press, and then hit it, attack. Exactly what he was taught from Andrew Harris, learned well, and almost impossible to stop. 4 yards to go. You got to get him at the line of scrimmage or behind it to stop that momentum. That's an 8-yard run when they needed 4.
Go! What is it? Back to Brady again. Bounces off of Thurman. Yeah, it's been a long night for Jameer Thurman in the middle of that Riders defense. Give Brady 6 more.
Yeah, and keep in mind, this is the #1 defense against the run through the regular season. So they have been excellent in that regard. In fact, most of the time, keeping teams to under 50 yards rushing a game. But when Brady Oliveira starts slapping his helmet, you know what that means.
He's ready to go, yeah. Micah Johnson eventually making the tackle on that last play. 2nd and 4 here. Collaros down the field for Dembski. Can't get there. Working against Milligan. And it falls incomplete. And that'll bring up 3rd down in a punting situation for Jamison Sheen.
Brian Cox Jr. is going to get home here. This is a play designed to try and protect Zach long enough to allow Nick Dembski to layer right across the formation in the field, and Brian Cox Jr. got there.
Alford waits back on his own 10. Slides over, takes it at the 12. 38-yard kick. There's a flag right on the far sideline as he started that return.
During the return, holding Saskatchewan #26. First down, Saskatchewan.
Well, those penalties like that amplified in a big way. That last one against Godfrey Onyeka. And it puts Trevor Harris and this offense on their own 7-yard line.
We got South 8, 31 rollback, X-Rap on foot. Right.
Harris hands it off. A.J. Olette up the middle, looking for a little breathing room. Not much.
Well, we're getting to that time now that to score the way it is. Time running out in the third. Trevor Harris has the CFL record for attempts in a single playoff game. That was 60. I don't know if he'll get to 60 tonight, but he's going to have to start slinging it around the yard.
Just a single yard for A.J. Olette. 2nd and 9. Just outside their own end zone here. Harris gets it away, looking for Schaefer Baker. Did he hang on to that? If he does, it's a first down. Wow.
Looked like Evan Holm had a better crack at this than Baker did. Look at the window. 31 right over the top. Underneath player, but that's a great catch by Schaefer Baker. And the accuracy on this throw, bang on.
They're going to rule it incomplete.
I don't know.
Ruling on the field is an incomplete.
Now they're saying they're picking it up. I thought he had that.
Corey Mace leaning towards that challenge flag.
Take one more look at it. He has it there. He has it there.
Mace has thrown the challenge flag.
You know, the interpretation of this.
They confirmed it. We talked. They confirmed it as well. Okay. So you got extra information. So I'm going to let you pick it up.
Thank you.
No, he threw his Saskatchewan was provided extra information. They're withdrawing their challenge. The game clock is reset to 17 seconds. It's third down.
So they already confirmed that they ruled it a drop. The interpretation of that is if you use the ground to help, or the turf to help you catch the ball. In other words, it bounces off and you use that.
Yeah, just like the fucking timeouts that you guys let fucking Toronto.
Or you pin it against the ground. I didn't think Schaefer Baker did either of those things.
You heard Croker say they've already looked at it.
Yeah.
We've already made the decision.
So pick up your flag. Yeah, pick up the flag.
Korshak stands in his own end zone. Lucky Whitehead waiting back at the Winnipeg 50. And he'll get to run up onto this one. Takes it at the Rider 52. 45-yard kick. And he is wrapped up. Nowhere to go on that return. Great field position for the Bombers. The lead is 15 as we get set for the fourth quarter. Bombers leading 31-16.
So Saskatchewan at halftime makes some adjustments defensively. There was only just over 100 yards of offense from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in that third quarter. So they had 350 or so in the first half of the 442. So some adjustments and then the busted coverage. Kenny Lawler gets in behind. If you bust a coverage against Zach Collaros, he's going to make you pay for it.
That went for 57 yards for Lawler's third touchdown of this football game and took any momentum away that the Riders may have been building early in that
We got Z.
third quarter.
Z to court's right tax. 205. Z sexy taco.
Toronto awaits the winner. trying to make it 5 trips to the Grey Cup in a row. Collaros on the run to his right. And that one too high, too hot for Kenny Lawler.
Yeah, that was a fastball on the run from number 8 here. He just lets that go, tight spiral, and Lawler was like, whoa. Couldn't get only got half the fishing net out there.
I know I'm having an okay night, but
Ace right, 64 ugly.
Getting a little carried away.
Padre backside, J-Hawk block, check middle, one more, ready? Get off, get.
Second and 10 for Collaros. Riders are going to bring some heat, and he gets it away as he's taken down by Jameer Thurman, and that'll bring up 3rd down.
Zach Collaros a little slow to get up after that hit. Full blitz this time from Corey Mace. He decided to send the house on 2nd and long, try and create possibly a turnover. Didn't do that, but he will get the ball back.
Well, now would be the right time for Super Mario to live up to his name here.
That's a good call by Corey Mace in this situation. You look at the score, where the Bombers are on the field. He needed to stop there big time.
Jamison Sheen hangs this one up there. Alford waits, takes it at the 10. Now he's going to try to stretch it to the far side of the field. Not going to work. Forced back in.
What a play.
And taken down there by Ford.
Tyrell Ford makes a play. 7 interceptions, all-star season for number 30. 2 interceptions against the Riders in one game in the regular season, and if he doesn't get contained here, number 30, Mario Alford is still running, because Jaden Dahlke had the angle on Tony Jones, and Tyrell Ford needed to get outside Alford, and he got it done.
Not many guys in the league that have the speed to contain Mario Alford, but Tyrell Ford is one of them. Here's A.J. Ouellette. That's a heavy collision. And he is taken down. Retta Cramdy was first there. Jake Thomas helps out as well. Just 2 yards up the middle for A.J. Ouellette.
Well, there's still plenty of time for the Riders, but it's the field position now. They need 2 or 3 first downs at least in this drive to, even if they can't get points in this drive, they can prevent possibly with a field position shift from Zach Collaros putting points on the board, making it more than a 2-score.
Big 8 yards here. Harris finds A.J. Ouellette. Can he push it ahead? Not going to happen. Stop just shy of the 25. That'll bring up 3rd down.
That's Retta Cramdy back in the lineup. He was banged up, was out for a few plays. Just through the roof football IQ from Retta Cramdy, and Corey Mace is going to go for it.
3rd and 4 with the ball sitting on your own 24.
I think this is a little early, but here we go.
Crowd to their feet in Winnipeg.
Unless they're just trying to draw him.
Harris. What a time. Gets it away. Broken up by Ford. Steps in and knocks it away from Keyshawn Johnson. Turnover on downs. Made a big play on special teams. Knocked down 12 passes in the regular season. And Ford's got another one there. Well, Brady Oliveira once again heavily involved in the passing attack for the Bombers this year. For more on how hard he works at it, let's send it down to Claire Hanna.
Well, one of the things that makes Brady Oliveira a CFL MOP nominee is he's constantly looking for ways to improve. And this year, one of the things he wanted to work on was his receiving game. After every single practice, even on bye weeks, he worked with Nick Dembski and he caught 100 balls each practice. He said he wanted to replicate what it would feel like in a game. Sometimes he'd close one eye, sometimes off a foot, different angles. And the numbers speak for themselves because he's been targeted 23 more times this season. And Oliveira believes if you attack your process and preparation at a high level in practice, it's going to be second nature on game day, like today.
Whatever he's doing certainly works.
What is it?
This time on the ground, rumbling away, down to the 10, Brady Oliveira the 5, and finally pushed out of bounds by Delkey, 21 yards, almost a house call for Oliveira.
Keeps the legs pumping, keeps the legs going. That run will put him over 100 yards of offense. He had 99 before that handoff. Stiff arms, one tackler, beats Jameer Thurman outside. C.J. Avery must be getting tired. He had 9 tackles in the first half, as you mentioned, and he just got stiff-armed by Brady Oliveira on that one.
Just the second trip inside the red zone tonight for the Bombers, as they've done most of their damage from much further out. First and goal from the 3. Wilson in the game. Gets it to Brady Oliveira. Touchdown, Winnipeg. Bombers in full control. And maybe 11 and a half minutes away from a 5th trip to the Grey Cup in a row.
Good push off that left side. Gabe Wallace in the short yardage. And Oliveira says, here, Mr. Wallace, you go ahead and spike the ball. And when those guys do it, you need to get a new ball.
Castillo. No doubt about that one. And the lead is 22. The Riders officially in trouble as Brady Oliveira over 100 yards and a touchdown.
The formula for Brady Oliveira, aim first. Let's take a look at the aiming point. Bang, there he goes. There's the aiming point. Now press the line of scrimmage with patience. Aim, press. Now he's got the opening. Attack. He learned well, didn't he, from his mentor.
The big boys have been going for the Bombers tonight. 3 touchdowns for Lawler, 1 for Dembski, and now 1 for Brady Oliveira. Tackle made on Mario Alford. Let's send it back down to Enoch Mwamba.
This has been unbelievable, guys. The Saskatchewan Roughriders fight them in a deep hole down 3 scores. How did Brady Oliveira do this? Well, he had an opportunity to score a touchdown because of the game of chess that I'm talking about. There was a package that Jordan Younger went to on defense, 3 down linemen, and they challenged the Saskatchewan Roughriders to run the ball, and Crombie made a big tackle to stop Ouellette. And guess what? Now you got to pass the ball, and that is the reason why they're able to get the score. And now down 3 scores.
Thank you. Can't imagine the atmosphere on the sidelines here at Princess Auto Stadium. There's the catch. First of the game for Jareth Stearns. 12 yards and a first down.
All of which really magnifies the decision to go for it on 3rd down deep with 12 minutes to go for the Riders. But there is still plenty of time. They're going to have to look at chunk plays, though. And the Bomber secondary understand that, too. So they're going to be playing off a little bit more.
Harris has that batted down by Willie Jefferson.
Yeah, he's not going to go a whole game without at least one. Not in the big games. Labor Day, he gets it done. He'll do it. He's had a quiet evening, really. It's been quite quiet by his standards, but he's in that stand-up position that we've seen many, many times. Off the edge, little inside move, and times up his jump perfectly.
Second down. Looking for 10 still. Harris down the field. Broken up again by Holm. They have been all over Emelis so far here in the West Final.
No question, that's the matchup that they have been trying to get, is with Emelis, who's in that number 2 spot, again to the wide field, up against Holm, and each time number 31 has come up with the play. It's almost like he's got such quick feet that he can run around a receiver running a route and get to the ball first, even if he's trailing them when they're actually running the route.
4 punts and a turnover on downs for the last 5 Riders possessions. That was after the third quarter started with a touchdown that they desperately needed.
Saskatchewan is challenging for pass interference on the previous play. The play will be reviewed.
Well, at this point, why not? If you're Corey Mace, if you can keep your offense on the field.
Sure, and a big play down the field, too. It wasn't that quick curl.
Corey Mace challenging for pass interference. They'll get a look at it. It's a tight one.
Well, as you mentioned, Dustin, you can't really fault Corey Mace for going ahead and trying to challenge this, but desperate challenge.
After review by the command center, the ruling on the field stands. By losing its challenge, Saskatchewan has lost a timeout. It's third down.
Evan Holm just beat Emelis to the football there.
He's had an excellent game.
Yeah, outstanding.
Evan Holm has been probably the best defensive player on the field on either side of the ball. He's just been all over the place. Korshak will kick it away with 10 to play. His team trailing 38-16. Lucky Whitehead takes it, bobbles it, picks it, oh, has it, picked it up. Riders trying to take it away from him. This would give them a bit of life if they get it, and they do. Saskatchewan takes it away after a double bobble from Lucky Whitehead, and Milligan comes out of the pile with it.
He did an onside kick when these two teams played in the regular season. That was crucial for the Riders, and he gets it again here. It was the first time. Thought Lucky Whitehead had lots of time to recover from that, but he missed it on the recovery attempt, and Roland Milligan comes up with it. The Riders needed a turnover. They got one.
They needed something to go their way to maybe turn the tide in this game. They got to find the end zone, though. First and 10 from the Winnipeg 33. A.J. Ouellette, can he find some space? Tony Jones is there to wrap him up just inside the 30.
Yeah, at this point now you're looking at least for this drive, 3-down football for the major.
Now, yep. Look at Mark Mueller dial up here. Harris over the middle. That'll be a first down inside the 20 as he goes back to his favorite target this evening, Schaefer Baker.
Gonna hustle to the line, try and communicate without the ability to do it verbally.
Second trip inside the red zone today for Saskatchewan. Harris over the middle again. And going in there and getting it again is Schaefer Baker, his 8th catch of the ball game, and that'll put him over 100 yards.
Didn't make any mistake that time. Inside and protected the football once he caught it. Pulled it right into his chest. Made sure there was no judgment call there as he went down.
First and goal from the Winnipeg 5. Harris has that one deflected up in the air, and it falls incomplete. Willie again.
We talked to Trevor Harris about facing Willie Jefferson, and this is exactly the first thing he said. You know, it's just frustrating when he gets those big paws in the throwing lane. You just don't expect. You think you've thrown it high enough, and he still somehow reaches it.
Then he starts doing that guitar thing.
Yeah,
that's what he said.
He does the guitar thing.
Second crack at it for Harris from the Winnipeg 5. Pressure in his face, and they got him. Nowhere to go. Retta crammed in his face immediately.
Something pulled the attention of Trevor Harris right at the snap of this football to the left. He took over and took to the left like he was going to go play action there, but there was no play action fake. Armstead was in, and Ouellette was in to just go and try to block the edge. There was no play action fake, so when Harris turned, he can't see the backside, and he gets hit by Cranby.
Backs him up to the Winnipeg 11. Still have to have the end zone here. Harris downfield for Johnson, goes up and did not hang on.
Home again.
Home denying everything tonight.
Keyshawn Johnson had a crack at this. He had his hands on it, and 31 made another play. Evan Holm goes up and strips this out of there because Keyshawn Johnson had it in his hands. Contact, worked it out with the right hand, and Trevor Harris takes a hit with 3-man pressure. He still takes a hit from Willie Jefferson. What a game for Evan Holm.
4 pass knockdowns in this game for Holm.
Go! Wide end! What is that?
Brady Oliveira pushing it ahead, and I'm sure we'll see a steady diet of 20 with just over 6 minutes remaining.
Especially on first down. There's no question about that.
He gets hurt every time he plays it.
For the Bombers, an extension to that run game is when they get Brady Oliveira between the tackles and either fake it to him or give it to him, and then get Nick Dembski out in the flat. Real high percentage throw for Zach Collaros, and sort of becomes an extension of their running game. But yeah, now they just want to grind that 6:15 down and punch their ticket to the Grey Cup.
Brady Oliveira, 108 yards on the ground on just 15 attempts, has a touchdown. Lawler with 177 and a 3 touchdowns for Lawler, and we've said it's been dominance from Winnipeg at home against the Riders.
Yeah, and full credit to all 3 phases for the Bombers in all 8 of those wins. And you can see some of them big wins on the scoreboard. I'm going to give a full assist to the Bomber fans on all of those, because this has become the toughest stadium to win in.
On average, over that 8-game stretch, they beat them by 23 points a game. Here they are now tonight, leading by 22.
I ran into in the mall right by our hotel a whole bunch of Jets fans that were going to the game earlier this afternoon. All of of which I talked to were coming to this game tonight as well.
Double dip sports day.
Waz left, zip, 1, Y fast, Z barb, R shave, 1-1, ready?
Great time to be a sports fan in Winnipeg. Jets off to a tremendous start, and the Bombers doing Bomber things again tonight.
That was the play I was just mentioning with Nick Dembski out in the flat. They elected to go again to Brady Oliveira between the tackles, but 2 options, which is just basically 2 running plays.
Terry Wilson into the game at quarterback on the 3rd and inches scenario. Rushing yards today, that 184 has been put up against the best rushing defense in the Canadian Football League, averaging just 80 yards per game allowed, more than 100 above that total today.
Let's give some credit to Buck Pierce in that regard, because everyone was talking about Brady Oliveira, and he became a factor.
He did, yeah.
But it wasn't how they started. The Bombers offensively came out throwing the ball. And when they did, they were hitting Lawler down the field. Big first half, throwing the football for Zach Collaros and this Bomber offense. And then they got Brady Oliveira going in the second quarter. And that continued as they kept this lead. The Saskatchewan Roughriders having to chase points, and the Bombers could run their balanced offense.
Hey, keep your knees bent. Keep your knees bent. Protect the ball. No penalties.
Winnipeg at 38 points on the season.
Slot left, 39 zombie on Bolt. Ready?
7th in the league at just 24.8 points per game.
Bolt, Bolt. Bolt, Bolt.
And offensively tonight, this is among the best that they've looked pretty much the entire year. Oliveira bounces off a couple of tackles, taken down after a short pickup.
Yeah, and let's add up front, we talked about Stanley Bryant off the top of the show, and he's the leader of that group up front. I can remember off the top of my head in this game tonight 2 times that Zach Collaros has been hit after he threw it. Don't think they gave up a sack, or have they given up maybe one? But he has had time back in the pocket to look for those deep shots. And what a game by Kenny Lawler, number 89.
What is it?
2nd and 9. Draw to Oliveira. And he hangs on to that ball. It'll end up being third down here with a lot of ground left to make up. And they'll kick it away.
But ate up about 3 minutes there.
Trevor Harris. Kept held in check for most of the night by this Winnipeg defense.
Right,
Jamison Sheen lets that clock tick down for a few more seconds. End over end as it wobbles in to Mario Alford. And nowhere to go on that one as we get 3 minutes in the West Final. And it's been all Winnipeg all night, minutes away from a 5th consecutive trip to the Grey Cup. Welcome back to Princess Auto Stadium in Winnipeg. Trevor Harris gets the ball one more time. Schaefer Baker again bounces off a tackle, hangs on to the ball. It's his 9th catch of the game. Takes it down inside the 45.
They'll give him the underneath stuff for sure. The Bombers are going to play off. Try to make a play on the ball when it's in the air, but make sure they're sure tacklers now.
29 more yards for Schaefer Baker. This one bobbled in front of Stearns and falls incomplete.
But if they go into that short side halfback spot and try to attack Evan Holm, they're going to get turned away. He has had an unbelievable night. 4 passes defended. Evan Holm, number 31, who led this team in tackles from a defensive back position, a cover position into the boundary. Defensive halfback. 4 passes defended, or knockdowns as we call them now. Big game for Evan Holm.
2nd and 10 for Harris. Gets it up to A.J. That tackle made immediately by Retta Crandy. The Bombers are fired up.
First guy to go and congratulate Crandy was quarterback Zach Collaros, and we talked to him about sitting in film preparing for this game with some defenders. He said, we sit with some of the guys, some of our teammates on defense. He said, I like to sit with Retta Crandy and talk to him because he is such a high football IQ.
3rd down for Harris. Near side. Not going to get there for the first down. Turnover on downs again.
The reason you would do that as a quarterback is to ask the defenders when you practice against them all week and through the bye week, do you see anything I'm giving away? When I drop back in zone in a certain play, when I roll out, am I giving away where I want to throw the ball? And that's where they can help each other prepare for a football game. And boy, in all 3 phases, was this team prepared or what?
How much, and we talked about this a little bit during the week with the coaches, but how much do you buy into the experience of Winnipeg in this game with this group? We don't have to talk about home field advantage, but just the experience that they have compared to a Riders team that's going through this for the first time with their new head coach.
Yeah, I think night and day difference. So you could tell by the way the Bombers started the game. Up 14-0 quickly. 2 big, real positive drives. And the guy that got them started in a big, big way was the fishing net, Kenny Lawler, who, this was his first touchdown early to just sort of loosen things up in the back end and actually probably have Saskatchewan defenders over there on the bench in between these series trying to figure out what was going on. And then this one was late into the second half, but it was the hat trick for touchdowns for Kenny Lawler. But this team was prepared and ready, and that experience gave him confidence.
4 touchdowns in the regular season for Kenny Lawler. 3 tonight.
But that's where the experience comes in. Yep. You know, Kenny Lawler said it to Claire at halftime when he talked about how he said we want to come out swinging and then keep it going. I think it was something, I'm paraphrasing. No, here it was. Punch first and keep swinging. And that's exactly what the Bombers did.
Third and 7. Kick it away.
Timeout, Saskatchewan.
Riders call a timeout.
Boy, this will be the 5th straight year the Bombers get to the Grey Cup championship. Edmonton did it 6 times in a row, from 77 to 82. The great Edmonton dynasties. 5 of the 6, Edmonton walked out champions. The Bombers won those 2, and now have been down 2, and get back for a 5th.
I'll tell you, if they lose a 3rd one, that's what everybody will be talking about. Losing 3 straight Grey Cups.
Well,
if you get there and win this one, all of a sudden you've won 3 of the last 5, and it's a completely different picture, in my opinion.
Well, well, yeah, the narrative will fluctuate from one extreme to the other.
Yeah, with how good this franchise has been, if we look back on this group over a 5-year stretch, and they lost 3 Grey Cups in a row, it'd be very interesting what the legacy of the team is. But they've dominated the West for half a decade. They'll have a chance to exact some revenge on the Argos.
Last time these two teams faced, that will face in the Grey Cup this year, the Bombers. Robbie Smith with a block, and the Argos won it. I think our sideline analyst is quite familiar with that one.
He remembers that.
I think he remembers that game. It was just the MOP and the top Canadian of that one. He knocked Mwamba down on the sideline. Great to have him here in Winnipeg with us. And
must have had a good game. Take home both of those.
You know, this has been a level of excellence that in the modern era, there he is. And he made a big play in that championship game, not just in a tackle, which is you expect from your linebackers, but a nice pick. Those are sweet hands from Mr. Mwamba there. Nice.
Back to Schaefer Baker. He's pretty much been all their offense through the air tonight.
I'll tell you what, it's been a great season for Corey Mason, his very first year as the head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And I mentioned off the top that he and Michael O'Shea speak the same language. And it's unique to a lot of coaches. You think it's obvious and they all do the same, but it's not true. These two guys have got it figured out.
I know Riders fans will be disappointed with how tonight has gone, but I don't know how you can't view this season as a success. You get the home playoff date, you win it, you have a shot at ending the Bombers' run to the Grey Cup, and I know that hurts as a bitter rival, but you have to be pretty excited about where the organization is going, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Good young receiving core, a veteran quarterback that, as you said off the top, definitely doesn't want to hang him up, or at least is not going to make any rash decisions right now. Is going to take some time in Trevor Harris. And as I mentioned, a coach that understands culture, understands how important it is to build that. Corey Mace will now get a chance, after hosting a playoff game in his first year, to now go through another draft, build his team with his Canadians in the offseason, and through free agency, add a piece here or there. I think this team has a very bright future, certainly with his head coach.
Trevor Harris will be motivated.
Oh, yeah.
After the way this game has ended, he will be thinking about this for the entire offseason. Late completion to Emelis, who was contained very well today by this Winnipeg defense. That's just his third catch on 10 targets. Clock ticks inside a minute. Harris has that one. And one hopped in, and that'll be incomplete. And, you know, we've seen different variations of this Winnipeg team over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
We've seen teams that
absolutely
had amazing offenses. We've seen teams that dominated defensively. This year we saw a team that struggled mightily out of the gate. 0-4, 2-6. And in the end, it's the same script in the West once again.
10-1 in their last 11 games, and have led throughout this one from top to bottom.
Harris on the run, takes it down inside the 30, picks up a late first down.
But you make a great point, because there has been a lot of change through the years, through these 4 straight and now 5 straight to the Grey Cup. You know, they have a young receiving core. Ontario Wilson is a rookie. I mean, Lawler's been around a little bit, and so is Dembski. But Wheatfall, Clercius, those are young guys in the receiving core. Cramdy is just finding his game. You know, there's been lots of change. No Adam Bighill in the middle of this defense. And some injuries that have also affected that. Changes in their offensive line with Jamarcus Hardrick leaving, one of their cornerstones, as Michael O'Shea said, and yet Eric Lofton fills in, and that offensive line was outstanding tonight.
30 seconds left. Harris dumps it off to Emelis, down to the 10 and into the end zone late for the Riders, as their season will end with a touchdown to Sam Emelis.
The crowd hated that.
They boos on the verge of going to a 5th Grey Cup, and there are boos from the fans here because they allowed the Riders to score.
That's what happens. Hey, that's what happens when you have a team, and Michael O'Shea has a team that has set the level of excellence so high that they don't even want to give up a touchdown that isn't going to change the outcome late in a game. The expectations are through the roof here. And I liked what Coach O'Shea said to us about the fans this week when he said, you know, once in a game, I'll take 2 or 3 seconds to just turn and look up at the crowd and take a second to appreciate just how much fun they're having and how great they are in helping us win football games.
Probably had a few of those moments tonight. Harris, corner outs, too much. Can't find Keyshawn Johnson with 23 seconds left. And the Bombers offense will get to take a victory formation when it's all said and done.
So we have an interesting matchup. The Bombers and this offense, which has looked as good tonight as I've seen them all season. And this is a team, as we just mentioned, that went 10-1 to finish the regular season and now into the playoffs. So they've been playing well in the back half of the year, but this is, I think, their best game with the most balance, great run attack. The outstanding performance by Kenny Lawler. The Argos have an excellent physical defensive line. Wynton McManus leads their linebacking corps. They got a secondary that can make plays back there and be physical as well. So it sets up an outstanding matchup.
As the PA president or the future PA president, running the clock.
Argos, Bombers, next Sunday. Pregame will start at 1 o'clock Eastern. I'll take you up to kickoff. What a great day of football in this country in Vancouver, BC Place. Great day today as well. Argos winning a bit of a thriller earlier on today out east. Bombers, comfortable cushion here, about to finish off the Riders. Korsak lays it out there, and that'll be covered and held onto by Kyrie Wilson.
Kyrie Wilson was a game time decision. Did get the start. We saw Cranby go down. He's back and played that final part of the fourth quarter.
Zach Collaros is about to improve to 33-5 at home as the starting quarterback of the Bombers.
The goal is still the goal. This was part of it, but there's one more game to play.
Back-to-back years of heartbreak for pretty good Bombers teams. And Mike O'Shea and his club will have a chance to make it 3 championships in 5 years. Collaros, brilliant from start to finish. And the Bombers are going back to the Grey Cup again. I don't think we can say enough about the Bombers' big players being big in this game. Collaros over 300 yards. Brady Oliveira 119 yards and a touchdown. Nick Dembski had 8 catches and a touchdown. Kenny Lawler had 177 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Evan Holm, who leads their team in tackles, 4 knockdowns. He was all over the field tonight. The top players for the Bombers were the difference tonight.
Yeah, they were the top players tonight, and that's what you need, especially in the playoff games. I always find in the championship game, though, in the Grey Cup, it's always someone you don't expect that comes up with the big play. Remember, we showed you a couple years ago when it was Robbie Smith with a blocked field goal for the Toronto Argonauts to win it there. The guy that a few plays earlier had just taken a penalty to extend a drive and then bounce back with a block. It's often a player that you don't expect that comes up with a big one. The Argos have a great defensive front four. That's going to be an interesting matchup for this Winnipeg offensive line. But yeah, 5 straight appearances. Can they snap the losing streak in the championship game?
Claire Hanna is standing by with Zach Collaros.
Zach, for the 5th straight year, you and the Bombers are going to the Grey Cup. Just put into words how that feels.
Exciting. Proud of our effort, obviously. We got to go finish the deal. But I just can't say enough about our crowd tonight. This province, this city, our fans are just amazing. Made it very difficult for the Riders all night. But yeah, just amazing. Just love playing here, man.
For you had a tremendous game. You threw almost 300 yards just in the first half, 4 touchdowns. How did you manage the game?
I thought we had a good plan, and guys executed. The offensive line did a great job giving me time. They like to drop into zone and only rush 4, so they did a great job. And Kenny Lawler, Nick Dembski's Nick Dembski, so it was good.
Zach, when you think about how you guys started this season, piling up those losses and then turning things around, how would you put into words how different maybe the feeling is this time?
It's a new team. Every year's a little bit different, right? But I'm just so proud of the guys for sticking to it. And it's a long season, so we got 1 more left.
Well, congratulations, and we'll see you in Vancouver.
Appreciate it. Take care.
He'll be the only quarterback ever to start in 5 consecutive Grey Cups.
Well, Zach Collaros just improved to 6-0 in the finals. If you get Zach Collaros into an Eastern or a Western final, he's going to take you to the Grey Cup. Now, can they get the job done against a good Toronto Argonaut defense, a good Toronto Argonaut football team? But this was another 3-phase win. Evan Holm with the big game. Brady Oliveira, we expected, had the big game. And this is the big dog on the porch. Has been for 5 years now.
Some of these kids weren't even born when they went to the Grey Cup for the first time. Families are here in attendance. Bombers win again. Coverage from here will continue, but let's send it back to Kate in the panel.
You know what, Dustin? You should just keep it at Princess Auto Stadium. It's a lot cuter watching kids run on the field and embrace their dads than this panel, that's for sure. Davis Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel. And look, for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, I know we say it each and every year, and I don't think anyone gets sick of it, because watching a team like this with dynasty-level aspirations each and every year, it's a privilege in sports, to be quite honest with you. And for this team tonight, they did so many things right, and I know Dusty and Glenn both spoke about it, but it started with the stars on this team. Zach Collaros going over 300 yards. It was Kenny Lawler going 177. Brady Oliveira, who hadn't had more than 50 yards a game on the ground against the Riders this season, he breaks out for 119. And of course, he's got a delightful baby now that we can watch. But Matt, it was just, it was all the stars that were playing part tonight.
Yeah, and intertwined with some guys that, we're not accustomed to seeing, right? And they all stepped up in big moments. And let me just start just with the receiving core. We've heard of Lucky Whitehead. We've seen him play what he had 1 catch, and it was an important catch. He got it, knew where he was at, and went and got a critical first down when the game was close. You got Wheatfall, who had one. Claricius and Wilson stepped up. And so it was the big guys, but it was the supporting cast, the new blood coming to this football team, offensively and defensively as well. You got Garbutt, who had a big game. Haba got one. Cranby, we continue to talk about him. Glenn and Dusty were going on and on about his mindset and his acumen for the game. And he had 7 tackles. tackles.
Baller doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah,
Reddick Cramby's a baller.
7 tackles, a sack, and home. You know, we were just throwing stuff at the monitors here all night because home was just going
amazing.
off, locking down one of the best receivers in the league, MLS, several times.
Yeah, and 5 years in a row. I mean, that's pretty amazing when you think about the landscape of the CFL with the free agency, the one-year contracts, and this team is back in the Grey Cup again, and Zach Collaros once again is leading his team to a Grey Cup. And you talk about those pieces, but it was the stars who came up big for this team early and often. Zach and Brady and Lawler. That's what you expect. Big-time players making big-time plays in big-time games. So this team is truly amazing. Being able to do this 5 years in a row, to say they're not a dynasty regardless of what happened, is very unfortunate for folks who say that, but this team is definitely a dynasty.
That's what I was about to ask you. Is this, we know the success of 2-2 so far in the Grey Cups, is this no doubt of what happens on next Sunday?
Regardless.
They're a dynasty.
Regardless.
So I'll say this, is this team, I agree with you, this team is, the Bombers are a dynasty, regardless of what happens on Sunday. When we look back from this 20 years from now, if they win this game next Sunday, they win the game Sunday, they'll be a dynasty that we consider a championship dynasty.
Right.
If they don't, we're going to look back at them like we look at the Buffalo Bills of the NFL and say, it's a dynasty. They had a great run, but we'll talk about the losses, and that's the reality of the business. That's the reality of this business.
And I agree with that, Ches. I really do. And I think it's important to note, too, because a lot of chatter early on when this team was struggling that they were long in the tooth and that they were done. But I just mentioned 4 young guys, and I'll mention some more. We've got Ford. We've got Taylor, who started at free safety tonight. Bonds on the corner. We got a lot of new faces in the Bomber lineup continuing to excel within this organization.
And what a turnaround from 0-4 to start the season all the way back to the Grey Cup for a 5th straight season. I mean, it's truly remarkable. And now we get a rematch of that 2022 Grey Cup that was amazing. Let's get you back to Winnipeg for the trophy presentation.
2-1. Coach, your quarterback, Zach Collaros, just talked about how you guys have some of the best fans in the league, and you can see why here today. How does it feel to be punching your ticket to your 5th straight Grey Cup?
Yeah, we'll just take one at a time. We'll take the 2024 one. So hopefully all you fans travel to Vancouver well.
When you think about this season, you guys started 0-4. You said this wasn't the normal journey to get to the Grey Cup. What can you say about the team's effort?
Well, their effort's never in question. I think the fans can be proud of that. Certainly a little rough start. We appreciate you all sticking with us because I know it might have been tough early, but our guys are always going to play hard. They came to work every single day. I think some of that adversity at the start of the year has served us well now.
Finally, you guys get another crack at the Toronto Argonauts. How do you feel about facing them in Vancouver in a week?
Well, it's really about what we're going to do. You know, I think it's about our preparation and looking after each other. And the opponent wasn't going to matter. And we'll do our game planning, but we're just excited to get there.
Thank you, Coach, and congratulations.
Yeah, thanks to all the fans. You guys were awesome.
Yes, they were. Princess Auto Stadium was rocking from before kickoff until this moment here as they continue to ring the cowbells in Winnipeg. Almost have become same old for Bombers fan suits as Winnipeg once again advances to the Grey Cup. What do you think about the makeup of this team for that game?
I love the mix of experience that we talked about with Zach Collaros and guys like Kenny Lawler and Willie Jefferson, but also mixed with that youth. Evan Holm, young guy, young players like Tyrell Ford, who made some key plays. This is a team that is poised to make history.
5th consecutive Grey Cup for Winnipeg. A successful season for the Riders comes to a close in a disappointing fashion as they lose 38-22. But Collaros, Oliveira, Dembski, Lawler, all bringing it here in the West Final. And now the Bombers will have a chance to get revenge for a loss in the 2022 Grey Cup, as a rematch 2 years in the making is set. Winnipeg, Toronto from Vancouver next Sunday.
We say hello there. Welcome inside Sports Center. Adam Scully alongside Jermaine Franklin. Man, oh man, how much fun would it be to be in Winnipeg right now? Jets in the afternoon, the Bombers at night, and the Bombers, man, they dominated, didn't they?
Oh man, the Bombers really came ready to play, and it's amazing the way that they started their season. They didn't win in the first 4 weeks. But, man, have they been peaking right at the right time. Riders had no answers. With the win, Winnipeg would become the 4th team ever to advance to 5 straight Grey Cups, and the first since Edmonton did it back in 1982. First quarter, Zach Collaros, he finds a wide-open Kenny Lawler for a 31-yard score. Winnipeg strikes first, take an early 7-0 lead. And then, on the Bombers' very next drive,
Playoff records for Trevor Harris.
Collaros down the field looking for Lawler again, and Kenny's got it. He's going to cut it back at the 40. Stiff arm to try to get away. They'll hang on. The regular season red hot as well. Empty backfield for Collaros. Down the field, Lawler again. Touchdown. Did he get there? Yes. Kenny
that view from the data-enhanced feed, which can be seen on TSN Plus. Lawler goes for 120 yards and 2 TDs in the first quarter alone. 14-zip Bombers. They mean business. Let's go to the second quarter. Now 14-6. Bombers just need a yard, so they bring in short yardage QB Terry Wilson, but he just blasts forward for a huge gain. The short yardage QB gets 48 yards on the run. His longest play of the season before this one was only 4 yards. Very next play, Collaros finds Nick Dembski in the end zone. His 3rd TD pass of the half. Bombers led 24-9 at the break. Now 24-16 in the 3rd quarter.
2nd and 7. Riders send forward. Collaros, a ton of time. Down the field, wide open. Who else? Kenny Lawler. Touchdown, Winnipeg. A hat trick for Lawler.
Lawler gets another one. Bombers take a 15-point lead to the 4th. Still 12 minutes to go, but the Riders going for it on 3rd down from their own 24, and Tyrell Ford breaks it up. Bombers take over deep in Riders territory, and Winnipeg hands it off to their MOP nominee, Brady Oliveira, and he takes it in. Bombers off to their 5th consecutive Grey Cup as they take down the Riders. Zach Collaros improving to 7-1 in the playoffs in his career. Winnipeg has won 9 straight home games against Saskatchewan. Their last home loss to the Riders was in 2018, and the Riders have played in the division finals in 4 of the last 7 seasons. However, they have failed to reach the Grey Cup since 2013. New on SC, here's Kenny Lawler with our Claire Hanna.
Well, it might be past KJ's bedtime, but I know you are wide awake. How does it feel to beat the Roughriders and be going to this organization's 5th straight Grey Cup?
Oh, man, it feels, it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. We worked so hard for this to achieve what we're doing, and we just, it's just an amazing accomplishment.
You put up a highlight reel performance here today, 3 touchdowns. Just tell me, what was working so well for you?
Oh, well, man, the offense, we were just clicking all cylinders. We were just hungry, determined, and
Everybody made such a big deal this season about the Roughriders defense. What can you say about your team's defensive effort, just watching Evan Holmes do his thing?
Oh, man, our defense is lights out. They come to play. They fuel us and get us ready to go out there and make plays because they make so many plays. So, when the defense plays like that all season long, it's going to be hard to mess with us.
Kenny, I know you're probably just trying to let this moment sink in, but what do you think about your matchup with the Toronto Argonauts in a week?
We'll figure it out. I don't know. I ain't really thinking about it right now. We're going to celebrate this, get 24 hours, then, off to BC and to get ready for them. So it's going to be a hell of a match. I know that for sure.
Enjoy the celebration. Thank you.
Thank you.
They probably will figure it out. Yeah. New on SC, it's Zach Collaros with Claire Hanna.
Zach, for the 5th straight year, you and the Bombers are going to the Grey Cup. Just put into words how that feels.
Exciting. Proud of our effort, obviously. We got to go finish the deal. But I just can't say enough about our crowd tonight. This province, this city, our fans are just amazing. Made it very difficult for the Riders all night. But yeah, just amazing. Just love playing here, man.
For you had a tremendous game. You threw almost 300 yards just in the first half, 4 touchdowns. How did you manage the game?
I thought we had a good plan, and guys executed. The offensive line did a great job giving me time. They like to drop into zone and only rush 4, so they did a great job. And Kenny Lawler, Nick Dembski's Nick Dembski, so it was good.
Zach, when you think about how you guys started this season, piling up those losses and then turning things around, how would you put into words how different maybe the feeling is this time?
It's a new team. Every year is a little bit different, right? But I'm just so proud of the guys for sticking to it. And it's a long season, so we got one more left.
Well, congratulations, and we'll see you in Vancouver.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Now, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they were absolute juggernauts. Now, the Argos, they headed into Montreal with revenge on their mind simply because Montreal, they went into Toronto last year and upset the Argos, completely embarrassed them in front of their own home fans. The Argos kind of got the job done, but Montreal took their pound of flesh.
Yeah, certainly did. Came at a cost for sure. Now, Chad Kelly said earlier in the week, this is a new era, but it was not the best one here for Chad Kelly. Anyway, scoreless game midway through the first quarter. Cody Fajardo tries to swing it out to Walter Fletcher. Fletcher bobbles it. Benji Franklin picks it off, takes it to the house for the pick 6. Back-to-back games with a pick 6 for Franklin. One of 5 turnovers in the game for Montreal. 7-0. Argos, second quarter, now 7-6 Argos. Take a look through our data-enhanced feed on TSN+. Cody Fajardo finds Keon Julian Grant for the touchdown. Julian Grant missed Montreal's Grey Cup run last season due to injury as the Owls they take a 13-7 lead. On the Argos' next play from scrimmage, Chad Kelly's pass deflected, intercepted by Darnell Sankey. Midway through the second quarter, Kelly threw 2 interceptions, just 2 completions. That would lead to an Owls field goal, which leads us to the TSN turning point under 2 minutes left in the half.
Only 2-possession game late here in the first half. The Argos looking for a chance to get closer before halftime. Janarian Grant picks it up. He's got a big return going. Janarian Grant down the right side, and he'll take it in for the touchdown.
Janarian Grant's 5th return touchdown of the season. Argos, they trail by 2. Then, after another Montreal turnover, final play of the half, Kelly throws it up for DeMonte Coxie. Comes down, the one-handed catch. Toronto with 14 points in a minute, 46 seconds. They take a 5-point lead into the half. That catch was
so good.
So good. All right, final minute, third quarter. Toronto up 8. Scary scene here for the Argos. Kelly scrambling, moving, taken down, landed on by multiple Alouettes. Kelly suffers a broken tibia on the play. He was placed on a stretcher. His head coach, Ryan Dinwiddie, very emotional.
What appears to be his...
Hang in there, brother. I love you, Chad. You know how Let's keep fighting, guys, okay?
Kelly was taken to a hospital, and according to our Dave Naylor, surgery expected to have a 6 to 9 month rehab.
So tough to
sad. Through fourth, Montreal down 11. Fajardo finds Austin Mack his first touchdown since returning from the NFL. Montreal missed the 2-point field by 5. A Argo field goal made an 8-point game. Fajardo, Walter Fletcher finds the end zone. Montreal just a 2-point conversion away from tying this thing up. Now, on the 2-point conversion, it's Fajardo looking for Mack.
Fajardo into the end zone
by Benji Franklin again. Argo holding on to a 2-point lead. So it's down to backup quarterback Nick Arbuckle to finish the game. Under 2 to play, Arbuckle finds David Ungerer. That's a huge first down. Then, under a minute to play,
first down Toronto.
Toronto can ice the game with a first down. Arbuckle throws deep for Dejon Brissett. And Tyrese Beverette called for pass interference. The East nominee for Defensive Player of the Year commits the penalty, and the Toronto Argonauts exact their revenge from last year. Will play for the Grey Cup, their second Grey Cup appearance in 3 seasons. They hang on after losing their starting quarterback. Now, turnovers, well, they were a big story in this one. The Owls had a total of 6 in the game. The Argos led the East.
That'll do it.
The turnovers force this year. Now, with Chad Kelly out, we should point out Argos went 5-4 during the regular season without him. Arbuckle has played in a Grey Cup before, but that back in 2018. Backed up Bo Levi Mitchell in Calgary, had 3 rushes in the championship game that year.
Tell me, in a moment like that, where you lose Chad Kelly, but you have to come in, how this team stayed together.
Oh, man, Chad's our guy. Chad's our leader. Sorry, the curse word. He's our leader, so as soon as he goes down, he talked all week about he has our back and we have his back. We had his back. We told him that when he was down, that we got it for him. That's all we cared about. This isn't our goal. This team was just in our way. We're on our way to what we were trying to accomplish this whole season.
Feels so bad for 12. Chaz had that's the tough goal when he breaks his ankle, right? And everything he went through this year, right? And it just shows you how much his teammates really appreciate him, right? And, I think they feel that way about each other in that locker room. I told him after the game, I'm so proud of him. Our journey hasn't been easy this year, but I enjoy everybody in that locker room.
Feel the crowd laughing and chanting as when he's down there on the ground getting an air cast put on, because they think that somehow this man that's given so much to our team and to us somehow deserves what happened to him. I mean, it just fueled us even more, and we couldn't wait to get out there and be able to shut everybody up.
Feels like a nightmare, honestly. I feel like somebody could just pinch me. I wake up and it's the morning of this day, and I could still go out and kind of right my wrongs, but something in the ball tonight that just didn't want to stay on our side.
Well, Jermaine, the matchup for the Grey Cup is all set. It's a rematch from 2 years ago. Toronto beating Winnipeg 24-23 in Regina back in 2022. 111th Grey Cup kicks off in Vancouver on Sunday, November 17th on TSN and CTV. For much more, let's go to Kate and the panel.
So David Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Siegel, and the 111th Grey Cup officially set the Toronto Argonauts and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers a rematch of the 2022 Grey Cup that was absolutely amazing, so we expect the exact same thing. Let us start in the East, Ches, and by far the biggest story is the injury to Chad Kelly he sustained in the 3rd quarter. It was gruesome. He underwent surgery. It was a broken tibia. He's going to be gone 6 to 9 months. But I guess for Argonaut fans, you look at the entire game, and maybe the saving grace moving forward with now Nick Arbuckle under center is the fact that all 3 phases of this team were working great. I mean, special teams was awesome, so was the defense, and they're going to need everything in the Grey Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. It was all 3 phases that finished this game after Chad went out. Let's hope for a speedy recovery for Chad. But early on in this game, too, Kate, it was in the 1st quarter, pick 6 right here. There was fumbles, there was special team plays. This Argos, all 3 phases of this team got it done when their offense struggled early. Yep. So, like you said, going into this Grey Cup, next week, they'll need all 3 phases.
Impressed with the way Ryan did when he called plays down the stretch with Chad Kelly and the way he handled the last quarter with Nick Arbuckle. Trusting his quarterback, letting him throw it on 2nd and down, and completing 3 of those 2nd and longs in situations, and then drew a penalty from Tyrese Beverette on the biggest play of the ball game to seal the deal. Love the synergy between the head coach, offensive coordinator, and his 2 quarterbacks, and certainly Arbuckle's going to have to step up huge for him next week.
4 important things happen in this game for the Argonauts. We see they can score on offense, defense, special teams. Their offense played well enough, but even more important than that, Nick Arbuckle is going into the Grey Cup with some confidence because he stepped on the field, made some plays, put his team in a position to win, and that's a big reason why they're in the Grey Cup.
Speaking of confidence, that is the Winnipeg Blue Bombers right now. I don't even remember that 0-4 start watching this team, and it was the stars in this one, and the complimentary players as well, but let's begin with the big guns, and that being Brado Oliveira, who hadn't run for over 50 yards against the Riders this season, Zach Collaros over 300, and Kenny Lawler, my goodness, with 177 receiving yards, Milt.
Total domination, and if you're used, and when you usually dominate dominating the team is because your best players are playing some great ball. You just mentioned them, Kate. You talk about Zach. You talk about Kenny Lawler. You talk about Brady Oliveira. All those guys dominated. It started with Brady. I always say that the running game. He only had, maybe 150 yards in 3 games? He had like 120 yards rushing in this game. So it's going to be tough to stop this team if they are playing like this in the Grey Cup.
The leader of that football team, Zach Collaros, told everybody and Brady Oliveira that we hadn't done anything. You know, we have not arrived yet. They got to continue to work. And I think there were some instances of this football game that will help keep this team locked in. I mean, they got caught on a fake punt by Corsack from Saskatchewan. They got to shore that up. A couple of drop balls, you know, and protection issues. To me, one of those scenarios where great win. I mean, you play clean football, but there is room for improvement, and that's what this game's all about. And this football team has been trusting that process all season long. They're going to have to continue to do so, improve, and play clean football next week.
Yeah, this Bombers team got it done, and they have a chance to cement this legacy. And we talked about it, Mill, you mentioned this dynasty. We said they're a dynasty. Regardless of what happens on Sunday, only 3 other teams have gone to 5 straight Grey Cups, 5 or more straight Grey Cups. Right. This team is a dynasty. But when we look back from this 20 years from now, 10 years from now, we're going to say this is a dynasty of championships, or this is a dynasty
3 of 5 or 2 of 5,
of teams that went to Grey Cups. And this Sunday, all those 5 years really comes into play here. This Winnipeg Blue Bombers really need to look to cement something big from this year, but also what they've done over the last 5 years, this organization.
And quick shout out to Evan Holm. He balled out right there. Yes. That man played an excellent game. They were trying to throw on him. Very few passes were completed on him. He showed
Ready
out.
Cramdy also balled out.
Yep.
You know what? You guys have fired me up. Who's ready for a road trip?
Let's go.
Let's go to the West Coast. We got the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. We got the the Toronto Argonauts. My goodness, this is going to be a great cup. As we said, hopefully it's just like that 2022 one as we send it back to Sports Center.
Well, it's a great day to be in Winnipeg. The Jets make history. Highlights next. Great day in Winnipeg all around. The Jets set an NHL new record. The Bombers on their way to their 5th straight Grey Cup. They're the 4th team in CFL history to do so. Edmonton holds the record for the most consecutive Grey Cup appearances with 6. For much more on the Bombers win, let's go to Claire Hanna and the panel.
Alongside Enoch Muamba and Farhan Lalji, and today Brady Oliveira rushes for 119 yards. Coming into this game against the Riders, he hadn't even eclipsed 50 yards against Saskatchewan this season. So how did he get it done today?
Well, Claire, he didn't touch the ball that early on in the game, but when he did, it came in bunches. He had 20 carries tonight. Buck Pierce had to be patient. It's almost like he was a decoy at the beginning of the game, but once he got to Brady Oliveira, we got to see the real Brady Oliveira. Physical game, and was able to get the yardage that we know he can.
Physical and motivated. He told me after the game that both he and the offensive line during the week, they were tired of hearing about how they couldn't run the football against Saskatchewan. They knew they could. They just felt earlier in the season, you know, when they were focused on him, he was able to get involved in the pass game and make a difference that way, but they knew they could do that. His touches and his productivity has gotten better as the season went on, and he's like, look, this is what I get paid to do, and I'm going to do it here. And, you know, you mentioned maybe a decoy earlier in the game. As the game progressed, because Winnipeg had the lead, that really allowed them to lean on Brady.
Now, entering this game, it was the Saskatchewan defense that had the reputation of getting turnovers, taking the ball away, but it was the Bombers defense that was on full display here today. How did they get it done?
The young guys stepped in and they did what they needed to do. You got Haba, who's a guy who missed a lot of the season. He came back and did a good job. Tony Jones, and obviously Tyrell Ford as well. The young guys played a huge role tonight, Farhan.
For me, it was Evan Holm. This guy had his hands all over this game. You know, this is a player that's used to getting targeted, going back to his collegiate days. People underestimate his speed, and Saskatchewan had success targeting him earlier this season, so he felt, yeah, they're going to come after me at too strong, and he was able to get it done. Sam Emilus, who's had a great season, he got targeted 10 times, caught only 3 passes prior to the garbage time touchdown in the final minute. 4 pass breakups for Evan Holm, and for him, he goes back to last year's Grey Cup. He says there's some plays I left out there that he still regrets. He wants to get it right. He's been there for Winnipeg's 2 Grey Cup losses. Hasn't had a Grey Cup ring yet.
Yeah, well, for the Bombers, they're going back to their 5th straight Grey Cup, but looking for their first win since 2021.
Thank you. Coming up on SportsCenter, highlights from the Maple Leafs.